Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I make it past. Just to point out that the meeting is currently being recorded, and then council can decide whether or not it wants to publish that recording. So the public gallery, if you like, is being recorded at the moment.
Is the council one?
Sorry?
Is the council recording on?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not talking about this one?
No, I'm talking about me. Yeah. So first of all, before we open the council meeting, welcome to the people standing for co-option. And what we'll do is we'll start off by we'll take apologies in the main council meeting. Are there any councillors present that have any interests to declare in the co-option process?
Apart from the fact that we know them all.
Sorry?
Apart from the fact that we know them all.
You know them all?
Yeah.
That would be to an extent where you need to declare an interest, or?
Microphone, please, do it.
It's John. To the extent where you feel you need to declare an interest.
Doesn't make a difference, John. If you know people, you've got to declare an interest.
Have you?
Yeah, that's part of the process.
Oh, right. Well, I know Bernard. And I know Elaine if she turns up.
So you've got to declare a personal interest then?
That's what he's doing. That's what John's doing. Yeah.
I'm saying I don't agree.
Okay. So Stuart,
I'm declaring that I know one, spoken to one, and there's no one not here that might turn up. That's a personal interest.
Great. Chris, did you say that you knew?
I know Bernard.
Okay, and then Clive.
I know Mr. Brother, Mrs. Graham, Mr. Bowers.
And Colin.
I know Bernard and the
Okay. Any other declaration? Okay. I don't know anyone. Great.
What's up?
I said he might be the only one who's voting.
So what we'll do is we'll just take each of the candidates in the order that they appear in our packs. We'll invite each person in turn to give a short speech, if you will, and then we'll have a brief opportunity for councillors to ask questions of the people standing for co-option. Then what will happen is that councillors who wish to will just briefly retire to the middle hall to discuss the candidates, and then we'll come back. We'll vote on the candidates in public and on the video as well. Any questions about the co-option process before we start? Okay, thank you very much. So the first candidate that we've got is Graham. Would you like a microphone, Chris?
I don't think I need a microphone.
We've got some members that are slightly hard of hearing. So.
Okay, I could hear a playground at 10 paces. Sorry. Do you mind if I stand?
No.
I'm much more comfortable standing, if that's okay with everybody to do the presentation. Why do you want to join Amston Parish Council? I've lived in Amston since 1969, which, to my calculation, is 47 years. The actual have, as I have 2 adult children who were brought up in the village, who were educated locally, and have now moved back from London into the area. I've seen Amston grow from a small village as part of Tiverton Park Rural District Council, believe it or not, to a satellite of Sheffield, Rotherham, Leeds, Doncaster, and even Nottingham, due to improved road networks. However, Amston is still essentially a village, which under Rotherham Borough Council seems to have been forgotten, as Rotherham concentrates on central areas.
Here.
The roads that lead to Amston are worn and full of potholes, whilst local estates have new roads and pavements repaired. I know it's all down to funding, but someone decides where it is spent. Likewise, grass cutting. Since I retired from teaching at Dinnington Comprehensive School 12 years ago, I had to occupy myself being a volunteer for Samaritans and a support worker for Victim Support Doncaster, visiting victims of crime and accompanying witnesses into court. I am no longer doing this due to other commitments. I am a founder member of Dinnington Bridge Club and play regularly. I was until recently an active member of Todwick Ramblers and have walked almost all the footpaths within the parish boundary, so I do know the parish extremely well. I am a member of Anston Bowling Club, having been secretary, that you probably know, from my letters for the past 3 years. I have attended the annual parish meetings, parish council meetings from time to time. As I said, Anston is essentially a village, and whilst Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council would see it merge with Dinnington, I have always opposed large development which would impact on local services and businesses. For example, Tesco's at the Cutler. I have been asked on numerous occasions to become a parish council by members present here and parishioners. Perhaps it is now time for me to do so, if you consider me a suitable applicant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any councillors have any questions?
I think she covered everything. No, sir, I think she covered everything.
Next candidate is Philip Bauer.
Go back. This will speak a little bit for itself and what I've achieved. I am proud to say I moved in 1978, not so. My father was a mining engineer, so I was brought to this area because he was the mechanical engineer at Mountain Colliery. So I moved literally districts to come here. Now, I'm proud to say it grew in my heart from where I came from to come here, and it's grew ever since. And I've been a proud member of this community, and I'm proud to say it's been a village I grew up in, loved, and still today a part of our village. As you can see from my awards, myself, I won Volunteer of the Year last year, which was awarded by the Lord Lieutenant. Award ceremony in Rotherham. I've been a volunteer for a long time with the homeless. I've done homeless work throughout Rotherham Borough for 18 years or more. I'm also the bespoke officer now at Rotherham Fire Station, which I do vulnerable people with dementia, alcohol, people at risk. I visit quite regularly on my rare occasion to go and make sure they're okay and safe in their own home. There's not much in Rotherham I don't know, maybe because I go there, but I'm proud to say to be in this part. I was bequeathed last year, my son won the Spirit of Youth for Courage, and we went to the Park Plaza Hotel in London, put on by the government, and he was awarded it for youth for bravery of the Prime Minister as it was at the time. Now, due to my own helping what I've done for many years, this year I was fortunate the Lord Lieutenant invited me on behalf of the Chancellor's Office to go to the POS in recognition of my efforts, what I've done to make a difference in Rotherham. How to make a change in Rotherham is basically do something different. It will make me do something different. It will make a difference so everyone can see I still do a lot today. I've been to the homeless project. I'm back on duty again tomorrow, which I know likewise where I'm based. The other one is, what is also, I am a forever daddy. Me and my wife are forever mummy and daddies. We have adopted children from Rotherham Council, Borough itself. Out of 4 children, I have got 2 from my own, from me and my wife, but I have got 2 children. One is very special needs. He's got 3rd degree murder, 80% of his body. He's been left with brain damage and cerebral palsy. So he's been privileged that we've actually got him out of a foster home into a family home. I am fortunate here in Hampstead. We've got a lot of people in Hampstead who are like, "Hiya Phil, how's Joe doing?" It is great. The support we found from our village has been paramount over these years. And it's one of the best decisions then. I adopted a little girl who's got genetic problems, but yet again, we've got a good round of friends. I've also, the main thing is I'm a governor at Newman Special Needs School, Commutation School. I am the health and safety governor there, which I keep on time to make sure our children are kept okay and safe. Which I think they can't. What I always say is they might not have a voice like my son, but got a voice go out here. And I will represent children with all special needs forever in a day because they are as important as everybody else. Saying that, there's a lot of people in this village I visit professionally. Sometimes you just need someone to knock on the door and say, "Can I please if you're okay?" And I deal with that every day, every week, every crowd. But most of it is, I grew up in this village, I had 4 children into this village, and as a family, we've found in this village we've got a lot of support. If not for friends, or the medical staff up at Dinnington and at Northampton, some of the doctors are personal friends because I grew up in the village, and that is what we do. Dr. Barley or Dr. you know because they live on the same street as you. If you'd like to answer any questions, I would be willing to. If you want to ask me any questions about anything special, anything you need, please.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask a question. If I'm wrong by doing this, I apologise in advance. On the form you've filled in, there's some things you've not filled in that have to be clarified by law. Sorry, go on.
If I haven't, that's due because I'm dyslexic.
Right, no problems.
In my bag, I have that blue sheet.
If I ask you a couple of questions, if you answer them, that will clarify. It's not for other reasons, just to cross the T's, right. At the date of application to the parish council, are you a local government elector from the parish? Are you on the electoral roll?
Yes.
You're on the electoral and you can vote?
Yes.
Right, okay, that's that one. Because if you're not, you see, that throws things on a new light. The other one was...
I think we just spotted the same...
Yeah, it's okay, it's not a problem, because if you answer the right way, as it were, to these, it's not an issue, it's just clarification, right?
I'm just thinking that, sorry to interrupt you, maybe the one with disqualifications are best just double checked with the applicant.
Right, I'll tell you what I was going to ask. I won't without doing that. I'm going to ask the one at the bottom that needs to be answered. And that one and that one need to be answered. How do we do it? Do it in public or...?
It's just, your application bag is just missing a couple of tick boxes. But rather than ask you some potentially sort of difficult questions in public and on the film, we'll just get the clerk at the end. Once everybody's given their talks, just to double check your answers to the questions.
It's for a legal purpose, because it's not. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right, no problem.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. Firstly, you sound like a village superstar. Yes, what you've done and what you've been doing. Which leads me to a question. Do you think, due to all your commitment, you clearly have a lot of commitments out there, do you think that you have the time to give the parish council the needs?
Yes, I do. in the
You're
day.
aware of what sort of...
Yes, I do, yeah. I only volunteer, so one of these things I'm at the one day a week, just about what it is, so that is the problem solved.
Can I just ask a question? I know Mrs. Graham said in her speech that she attended meetings.
Sorry, Clive, I can't hear.
Sorry, Chris. Stuart's just asked you the questions. I know you've probably never been to a parish council meeting before. I just wonder if you're quite, aware how it functions, or in our case sometimes doesn't function. But it's just the fact that, as I say, if people have been, then as Stuart said, Darren said, it's just making sure you've got that time to commit to it, because at the moment we're still another council down now, but we've got a lot of work coming up, and it means people have got to be, able to get stuck in straight away. So I know it, so I know what you're like, but it's just making people aware of what they're I'm trying to phrase this nicely, getting themselves into it. Doesn't sound right, does it? But if you know what I mean, as to what you're expected to do, hopefully, if you're co-opted at the end of the day. So it's just people being aware of what they're going to be asked to do and get involved with. But that's okay. I mean, I think Darren's clarified that with what he's asked there. So
Just what we're aware of what the role of the intent is, regarding that, the rest of the reading things. As a governor, I know ours is only every 2 months at our school, and this is once a month. It's like, look, I don't want to talk about that,
It's slightly more than that. We have more committees, so it's probably 4 or 5 meetings a month, I think it's fair to say.
So what we've got is it now, I don't think anyway.
It was just the way you put everything across, you sound like a really busy chap. Doing a lot of good things as well, by the way, so please carry on. Thank you very much.
Conclusion.
oh yes, sorry.
Further comments?
Good evening, everyone. As Matt said, I was born in Anderston quite a while ago in 1949. Lived on West Street, moved on to Middleton, and married, got children, grandchildren. I have had my own businesses. I've worked for high-profile companies. I do voluntary work, but obviously I do it without letting too many people know. I don't need to let people know what to do, but to do it. We have situations in Anderston where exactly the same as it's grown. Obviously, since I was a young man, and obviously, I can obviously say I'm more of an organiser of events. I help organise the Woodstock and the Legend Festival back in 2000, which is obviously on the name. We organised that from scratch. We never had any input from anyone other than voluntary people working, and also grants. But it did prove to be quite successful in the early years. I was chairman for 5 years. Up to 30 people working together. And it did work out very well. But obviously, that's the past, the future. We want someone really, I think, to grasp the nettle and really sort situation around now. From previous meetings I've been to, it wasn't clear, and it was a little bit distorted and disorientated. But I think I felt from the organisation side. As I've been a director of a company in Northampton, for 30 people there. Retired 12 months ago, and obviously part of it means that we don't say go out telling people what we do, we just do it, and we do it to the benefit of the community, in my opinion. But other than that, I don't know if there's any other questions on that.
Thank you very much. Any questions from councillors?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who's that one?
Again, the clerk might have a couple of questions for you, because we've only got one part of your form in the pack.
Me?
That's all right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, sit down. Yeah, it's... It's not Berners that's missing. I don't know, it's not Berners that's missing. I think it's Mr. Wilkins. But don't worry, it's not a problem. Don't worry. We're just missing some information off the front, but it's not a problem. So don't... I think it's...
It looks like it might be a problem with photocopying, because actually
Rather
my pack's now missing is missing the cover sheet for the next candidate.
I wonder why it wasn't. Richard Wilkins.
Yeah, my name's Richard Wilkins. I can't claim to have lived in a village for as long as some of the people here, but what I can tell you is I grew up in Anston. I went through the school process. I lived on the Battle Estate in South Anston for 18 years of my life before moving away for work. I moved back 3 years ago now. I reside on Yeoman's Way in South Anston. Essentially, why do I want to join the council? Wherever I've lived, I've tried to aid the community. I lived in Wandsworth in London, in one of the roughest boroughs, and I tutored underprivileged kids a voluntary scheme on Saturday morning to improve their GCSE results. When I lived in Leeds, I helped with the community garden in Horsford. It's just something that I'd like to do, and something that I think I should do as a member of the community to give back. In terms of who I am and what I do, I'm a senior business analyst working for Tier 1 and Tier 2 investment banks, places such as HSBC, JP Morgan, Bank of America. I'm self-employed, so they contract me on a consulting basis to essentially help them plan, program, and problem solve within their businesses. That's one of the main reasons that I think I'd like to be considered for the council. My career is problem solving, coming up with innovative solutions, looking at problems in a way that relate who I work for, but in this case, aid the community. I think from what I've seen of the council, I've not been to many meetings, but I do, being of the internet generation, I do watch all of the meetings online on the YouTube channel. I find them strangely riveting. I find that the council does good work, and I believe that community comes first. And being able to have an input into that using the skills I've got in business and the skills I do on a day-to-day basis will help focus on the areas of the problems that need attention or areas that need brushing up on. I'd like to participate in that process, and I also would like to maybe bring some new innovative ideas to maybe generate cash for the area. There's been a lot of focus on certain things. I know the council has done good work with events recently such as Anston Fest. I think that that's a base to grow on, and I'd like to be part of that. That's short and sweet. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillors, any questions?
No.
It's too clever, I'm not asking.
Thank you very much. Again, because we're missing a few bits of stage, the clerk might have a couple of questions for you. In lane 1.
Excuse me, does it exclude Elaine because she's not shown up? She's not here. Oops, yes.
I think we've got.
Start again. Sorry, Elaine.
You can see why people think they're riveting these meetings.
It's the white thing.
You see what you get yourself into.
I'll have Chris, wherever you've got to drink, I'll have some.
It's outrageous. I'm sorry.
Feel free.
Well, you know me, I'm Elaine Moore. I would like to say that over the past 5+ years, I have given my time to attend parish council meetings on a regular basis. because I obviously have an interest in the parish where I live. As I have previously stated, my decision to apply to be a parish councillor is not just a sudden idea. It is a serious decision taken over time, based on information I've accumulated, gleaned by regularly attending meetings, on the diverse areas covered by the council. If elected, I'm prepared to give my time with a serious and constructive capacity. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Any questions from councillors?
I noticed. Yeah, sorry. I noticed you've not. We've not got an email address for you. Do you think that'll not be a problem if you were co-opted not having an email address?
Well, actually, you brought this up before, and you can't honest, when it came out to apply, it wasn't down as a facility that you had to have. I could, however, I do have an email somewhere, and I would be quite willing to learn.
It's just that I think it's extremely important that everybody is on an email address, because the vast amount of information that we get to, etc. If you're not on an email address, it's going to make it difficult, I think, actually to do the job. So to everybody, really, you need to be not sitting there waiting for stuff to come through, but you're going to get it every day of the week, Monday to Friday, and sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. So I think people just need to be aware that you've got to be on the ball. And I think you know, if you do get co-opted, then we do need an email address to work with. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great. Thank you very much. So the clerk will just confirm with those of you where we're missing some information. Councillors, are you happy to go through into the middle hall and discuss the candidates? I just check nobody else sent in the form.
No. Yeah. Just to let you know, I chose not to go. I said right from the beginning that anything I've got to say, I'll say it in front of you. It's not a big deal. They don't talk about you. Well, not much. When did you come? Oh no, we don't do that. It's beer, only beer. When did you come in? You weren't here when I got here, were you?
No, I came in just after 22, because in my head the gym was at 7, Wednesday at 7.
That's what I did see. I was concentrating, you see. That's a nice story. Sorry, was it?
It's not under the agenda now.
No, but actually this is the co-op meeting, it's the people that want to be co-opted on.
And that's all.
No, I'll fix just letting you. I said I'll fix it. So it is, when it came in. Did you just assume?
Okay, ladies and gents, I know we're a little later. I know Councillor Sadler's just informed me that some people are waiting for a chance to speak. We will go into the public session, but we have to have the co-option meeting to fill vacancies on the council, so there will be an opportunity for everyone to speak during the public session, or as many people to speak as possible during the time that we've got for the public session, but we just need to press on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so the procedure is that I'll read out the names. Councillors will need to propose and second each candidate. If we have a proposer and a seconder for a candidate, then councillors will vote on that candidate. We'll then move on to the next candidate. If nobody proposes and seconds a candidate, then that particular candidate falls at that stage. If multiple candidates get through the process, then we'll effectively select people based on the number of votes that they've received. Any questions about that process? Okay. What I will say to people being co-opted, obviously we have more people standing for co-option than we have vacancies. We have had a resignation from council that I'll go on to later on. Unfortunately, one of the councillors isn't able to continue in his role. So therefore, that will mean that another vacancy for co-option is likely to arise over the next few weeks. So the opportunity will present itself again. Okay, so the first candidate is Diane Graham. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for Diane Graham? So John and Stuart are the first people. All those in favour? And the next candidate is Philip Bowers. Proposer Jonathan.
Second.
Seconder Christine. All those in favour? Can you just show hands again, please?
Did you put yours up, Drew?
I did, yes.
You did?
I did. Okay. The next candidate is Bernard Frampton.
I'll propose Bernard.
Stuart proposing. Do we have a seconder?
Falls.
Okay, that falls. Richard Wilkins. Proposed by Darren. Seconded by John. All those in favour? and the final candidate is Elaine Morn. Proposer and seconder. So Stuart's hand was up first, so you're the proposer. Christine, you're seconding. All those in favour? Okay. So it's Diane and Richard. Okay. So the results are, we've got 8 votes for Diane. Sounds like Eurovision list, doesn't it? 8 votes for Diane. Sorry? Chris? You don't sing.
Oh, good.
I don't think we do either. So Diane Graham and Richard Wilkins have been selected this time. As I say, we all agreed actually that all of the candidates gave very good presentation, and there will be another opportunity, most likely arising for co-option later on in the next couple of months. So thank you very much to all of you.
When the other vacancy occurs, it won't be necessary for those to already ask to reapply.
No, they will.
They have to.
Can I just say, we had this situation before, and there was a lot of confusion, and I think, unless the chairman disagrees, I think the general consensus is that if anybody else would like to stand for the next vacancy, you will have to reapply. That way it ensures that we get the proper paperwork, because there was confusion over the paperwork last time. I think that's the fairest way to do it.
I think we did investigate this after the last one, and there is a requirement for them to reapply because they need to fill in the statutory questions on the application form.
Perhaps, John, what we could do is we could keep their contact
details and we can write to them. Yep. Great. 2 seconds.
And it need not be necessary, as long as we all remember, it need not be necessary for those certificates of residence.
Yes. At council's discretion. So we'll keep the details on record, and if another vacancy arrives or arises rather, then we'll write to those members of the public that took co-option this time, inviting you to stand again. But you'll need to fill in the form, and then council at the time will decide. So can I invite those? Okay, thank you very much. So the clerk will just get your contact details. And sorry, you had a question on the process.
No, I'd just like to thank the council for hopefully more patience.
I just asked that. Apparently not, because they've not signed declarations of office.
If we've had the book here, they could have sat and signed them straight away.
Is the book not in the office?
I don't know. She hasn't got the paperwork.
It's just the book.
I'm really the best to do it. What I said is, they need to sign it before the next stage of the committee meeting if they want to come to the committee.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can we go into the public session? The clerk hasn't got the paperwork that they need to sign. Because they've got to accept the...
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. So, start off with the public session. Kevin? Oh, we've got public session first. Yeah. So we've got public session before guest speaker. Kevin?
Can you just confirm that when BW Rally were on, that the council received any refunds?
Councillors received what?
Did the council receive any refunds?
I received
Well, I
a
didn't
wristband,
vote,
So
I
did
don't
and
know.
I passed it on.
I didn't use it.
No, what issue then?
Yes.
I wasn't.
There were only a few, I think.
Can I ask why you're asking?
I'll tell you why I'm asking you, sir. Simple fact to the kid. I want to know whether they're not. This council will issue any wristbands from BW today. It's a simple reason of it is. When, for instance, often this village of Bench, you could turn it down as an inducement.
It's slightly different.
No, it's not slightly different, it's the same thing. You can't tell a kid from one group and accept it,
Yeah, we didn't
And
accept it.
returning kids from another school, which would have benefited all the members of the community, not just council.
Thank you very much for your question. We'll not enter into a question and reply. So the answer to that is yes. The VW Society gave some response to the council, and then the clerk asked councillors if they wanted to take those. Thank you. Okay. Next question.
Did you go?
Sorry, can we just take the name for the
There's two items on the agenda about dogs on recreation ground. One is to discuss pension of play to exclude dogs on recreation ground. So I'm really from that looking at where the children's play equipment is with the rest of the park and open for everybody to use.
It's up for discussion by the council, but the discussions that we've had so far would indicate that we'd be restricting access to the play areas.
Yeah, for the children's area. Just for the children's area, not the field.
That's a discussion for council to have, but so far the only discussions that we've had have been to restrict access for dogs to the children's play area. Obviously, the council's within its power to restrict into other areas, but
point out before you
of course.
The other on point 10.15, it says to discuss no dog sign on recreation ground. So is that the whole of the recreation ground in Anston Parish, Rotherham, under Rotherham Borough Council, or is it around specific recreation grounds, or is it just that it's the time for an actual, we've only got 1 point, we're just looking at that defensive, to the children's play area.
No, it's the recreation council. Councillor Sadler.
Do you want me to answer it
Do you want
now?
to reply, because it's your point on the agenda, isn't it?
You're right. Somebody got the idea that we could put a fence round or try and ban them from the children's play area, because we do get a lot of dog dropping. We do, and a lot of complaints, and we're trying to find a way around it, but failing. So I proposed that we ban dogs from the Anston Recreation Ground completely, because there's a path through to the wood that dog owners can use.
That's the Anston,
It's at the moment, it's just this one.
So if you have a dog and children,
Yes,
and you want your children to play on the park, that means you
Yes.
need a dog at home.
well, I've been in a lot of areas, and I've been with my family in another part of the country with a dog, and they have been quite happy to leave their dog and go with their children into the children's play area. But it wasn't a ban on the field. What they would have done, probably let the dog at home, because actually this family of mine that I'm talking about are the biggest complaints of dog droppings that their children have to contend with.
Christine, could do you mind if I just interject here? So we don't want to enter into a sort of question and answer about something that we're going to debate, because it will be we'll be debating it. So in answer to your question, Christine's answered some of it. We obviously can't ban dogs from Rotherham's, from RMBC's parks, so it would just be anything relating to the estate that the council can control, and it would be up for the council to discuss which areas it wanted, if it wanted to exclude dog walking at all from its. I'm sorry, I can't enter into that. You will.
What is a Rotherham Park and what is an Anston Park?
Greenlands, Anston. The Greenlands Park is a Rotherham Park.
This is Anston. Suffolk Avenue is Anston. Whitegate is Anston.
I've got to list somewhere.
It's not that.
It's on the most person proposal as well.
Yes, it's got to be discussed and it's got to be...
Ladies and gents, we do need to move on. I allowed people to ask questions first because members of the public were all wanting to ask. We do have a presentation to get to. It will be something that we discuss when we get to that agenda item, so bear with us, and we'll get to discussing. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from members of the public? Thank you very much. And we have a presentation from Claire Mosley on Hanston Stones Wood.
Do you want a microphone?
Do you want a microphone, Clary?
You've got to speak fairly close.
I'm used to shouting at people.
There are some people aren't used to hearing.
Hello, my name's Claire Mosley. I work at Ully Country Park and Thriver Country Park for Rotherham Borough Council, but also I'm a local. I'm up in Dinnington, but I do use this woodland quite a lot with my children, and over the past few years I've been really involved in trying to get children and people into the Hanston Stone Woods and to get them to appreciate it, and that way they're going to protect it. And a few years ago I did something amazing and did a course on forest schools, which is, I will try and quote you what forest schools is an inspirational process that offers all learners regular opportunities to achieve and develop confidence and self-esteem through hands-on learning experience in a woodland or a natural environment with trees. So it's of all ages, trying to get children, adults, people with mental health problems, just people with disabilities, into a natural environment, and in the sense of not being too hippie, but to relax and to feel it, and then gather their self-esteem by simple little projects. So I've been working with schools, and these simple little projects that they could do, and adults as well love this. Things like making a boat with a piece of string and wood and a bit of leaf, and it's amazing how quiet even children with ADHD will sit, and adults, because the teachers get really involved, and just sit there and make, and it is very therapeutic. So that's where I'm coming from, but why I'm here is I'm setting up my own business, and it probably will be eventually a social enterprise. At the minute I'm doing it as a limited company because of the fact that my husband has got a company, and it's just to share the kind of like legalities and the paperwork, and I'm building this up slowly to try and work with schools and the scouts and the children's centres, and I would like permission and discussion maybe at a later date other than this meeting of my use of the woodland and what I could do and offer for the woodland as well. I've already said I'd willingly, and I have been in the Hanston Stones committee before, and I'll carry that on regardless, but I think I could bring in some events and people to share my passion, and then to love it as a Triple SI, because people don't know what Triple SI is and they don't respect it, and if they don't know what a fantastic environment we've got, whether it's a park or a woodland, then they're not going to protect it. So that's really why I came here, to say who I am, and please use me, and if possible, if I could use it to teach kids and help, then I will do. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. We have one question, I think.
Yeah, I agree. We should encourage kids to look after woodland. My grandkids at the moment just say trees are boring, because it's green and boring, but that's there, here and there. You mentioned the, should we say, the buzzword business, right? You're probably aware that the woods are a local nature reserve.
Yeah.
They're a Triple SI site,
Yeah.
and as a council we have to follow certain legislation. My thoughts on it is what if that's the way you want to go to work or do should we say, business activities in the woods. It throws a whole new light on, well, first of all, it's never happened before, and it throws a whole new light. My suggestion would be, and I'm looking at the chair as well, is what we would require before we go into any discussions would be a fairly detailed document of how, why, where, when, what, costings, insurance and assessments and things like that. Probably not the risk assessments at the moment, but you would end up having to fill in this risk assessment.
Done all those.
I think as a council we need a document first so we can look at it and then go into a discussion. In principle, I don't see it as a problem, but it's a whole new area for us.
Certainly.
Having businesses operating in the woods, that's all I'm going to say on that one.
John?
My son's been up for a school only quite a bit, I'm young lake.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. And it does actually get involved in things that children sometimes find boring. And it's really well worthwhile, really good to bring to around. Whether it's a business or not, it doesn't really matter because children are interested in whether it's a business or a service. So that's just in total support of the idea. It's really good.
I think the problem we've got is that the stones are a national treasure that can be used by anybody throughout the country. Unfortunately, it's only our parish that finances it. This is why some people complain that we've got the highest village rate, is because we cost 24 to 28,000 a year on that. The way that we watch is that there's very little rule about individuals going out, and we're not making rules. But whether you can take a group is another matter. There's nothing in the deeds that says you can't do a group. I don't think, not from my memory, but it's something that I'm very careful to look into.
Yeah, because obviously I work within the council, and when we have people in the park, it is quite, childminders use it, and that's business. But
the thing is at a park in the park, this is triple SR.
Oh, yeah.
There are other things, I mean, it's cost us how much? It costs us how much trees over the railway line?
10,000.
Because the trees are over behind the railway, that costs us
and that's that is obviously a benefit, because I did, environmental management. I'm well aware, I've worked in triple SIs, and one of the ethoses of the forest school is that you leave no trace. It is working with enhancing the environment and making sure people enjoy it, so it wouldn't do anything that would go against everything of forest schools, and my belief. No, definitely not. No, it's actually, we don't do anything, we don't pick anything that's alive. It's all about respecting and empathy.
For the sake of time in the public session, Clive, you've got a question.
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, I know Claire from the Stoneswood Working Group, and I mean, anything I think we can bring somebody's expertise to help us with the stones, if it means bringing up another generation and respect it and look after it, then I'm all for it. I agree with Stuart, we need something in front of us, but I think what you need to do is, I'm more than supportive of this. I think you need to put something together for us in a bit more detail so we can have a look at it and then hopefully move it on. But I'm conscious that I know the open space security is met and stuff like that. I don't know whether you were at that meeting on Tuesday. But there are a lot of people that used to be on that, and I think we need to get back on track with that, because we've missed a year's maintenance and everything else down there. So we need to get back, and anything that you can bring to it, I'm more than happy to have a look at and support if we can. And it's really a question of when you can from my point of view, set a meeting up and come back with a bit more detail, and we'll see how we can progress it. So,
okay. To get into slide, because a year and a half ago we decided we'd have a local wardens to go into the start of the master.
Yeah, I was in that meeting, and yeah, that was a lot.
Although we've got a list of at least 60 people volunteered, we've never been contacted again.
Did you, John? I never knew that.
Well, yeah, at least 6 fellows who are willing to have a down there and patrol the place.
Well, that's what we need, isn't it? Yeah, that's for another day, anyway. Yeah. Right.
Thanks. I had one more question from a councillor, and then are we okay to move on unless anyone else? Stuart, do you have a quick question?
Just a quick question. Is this business, will that be separate from RMBC?
Oh yeah, so yeah. And Kevin, who's the manager there, I mean, he's willing to let me use the council land, the council as such, because they've seen all, but I want to keep it separate as
That's all right,
well.
yeah.
So I am using some bits of the council, like I said, I did one at Ulle, and I have gone through all that legal things and insurance and documentation, but it is separate.
That's all right.
Is that being reversed?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I think the consensus here is that if you could send us a business plan or a proposal, and then we can look at setting up a meeting. So if you send that to the clerk, and then a member will put it on the agenda if there's anything that we need to do from there. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I varied the order of the agenda so that we could allow people to speak. There are two other items that we need to have a quick look at. So do we have any representations regarding planning applications within the parish? Any questions about planning applications? No, that's fine. And we've got ward members present. So does anyone have a question relating to RMBC or any Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council questions?
I've got a question. My question is, why do we have an item on the agenda to allow public to ask questions of RMBC councillors? I think this is a throwback to the old Labour days. Because really, if members of the public have got questions that relate to Rotherham, they should be attending the councillor surgeries rather than coming through the parish councillor.
I agree.
Yeah. Maybe it's something we could look at taking up.
It's a legacy of years gone by.
Yeah.
Jonathan and I, we have like all three old surgeons. So I thought that was their email addresses, so I don't see why we can't dispense with that.
At the moment it's there because it's in the standing orders, but if a member wants to propose that we change the standing orders...
I'll deal with that.
Okay.
Okay.
For 40 years.
Will it go on the agenda, Jonathan?
So Jonathan's going to put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay, thank you very much.
Just to summarise before we move into the meeting, I don't want to enter into a reply, but just to confirm to the ladies at the back there, with regards to dogs and banning dogs, the council hasn't made any decisions. It's an agenda that individual members of the council, if you've not been to meetings before, individual councillors can put things on the agenda for discussion, and then council makes the decision. So a member has put something on the agenda, but that doesn't mean that the council is going to act one way or the other. Thank you very much. So into the meeting itself, apologies for absence.
Any questions? No questions.
We have apologies from Councillor Bentley. Anybody willing to propose?
Sorry?
Propose that we accept apologies from Councillor Bentley. So Clive and Jonathan, all those in favour? Okay. Item 2. Any DPI or personal interest in any item to be discussed?
Jonathan.
It's just one of my items, which is 9.7. Doesn't read exactly as that. All I remember that was for information for us to consider, not to actually agree on any. It's just one of the costs of the vote voters.
Well, I suppose we can take that, can't we?
It was meant to the information we can.
Great. Okay. Stuart, you have personal
I personally haven't got that. Can I just say 9.3? To consider or approve renewal of lease for Crowgate. I would suggest that RMBC councillors need to declare an interest there and possibly leave the room because it involves contracts and finance.
I'll declare an interest, but I'm not going to.
That's a two.
I've got something to add to that.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I think the last time we discussed this, RMBC councillors had a direct influence on the outcome of the events.
I wasn't here.
I was councillor and I was councillor then before councillor. I'll declare interest, but what I need to say on that is that we're only involved in politics issues. It's not on day-to-day running.
Will you be leaving the room?
And the officers of the council actually with day-to-day.
So in reply to that question,
will you be leaving the room, Jonathan?
Clive won't be leaving the room.
Well, the advice you took that we're going to leave the room.
That's all right.
So he's saying every week.
So don't be surprised if you go to the standards board.
Okay. And we can vote on whether members may be permitted to remain when we get to the item.
Okay.
We can in standing orders, but great. Any other DPI or personal interest? Okay, thank you very much. Any items for which the press and public may be excluded? Stuart.
9.3, the issue of Crowgate, it's about a renewal of the lease, it's contractual, and there's finance involved.
Is contractual with whom?
It's contractual between the parish council and RMBC.
Yeah, but that's one and the same, surely, at the end of the day. It's part of the government, we've not got outside contractors involved.
No.
Keeping too much information away from the residents. Why can't the residents hear what has to be said about this Crowgate lease?
Right, it's a contract, and we never discuss contracts in public session. It's a contract between an independent body of the parish council and an outside body, RMBC.
I agree, Stuart, but it's a contract that affects the residents.
It does.
In particular of Southampton, but of both Hamptons. It affects the residents. Don't you think?
But it's contractual.
It may be contractual, but we should be discussing it there should be some open forum to be discussing it with the residents.
Right, well,
No, because it's a parish council decision and the public will be informed of
Jonathan.
the decision.
Regarding this lease,
It's not a public decision.
we are discussing, do we have a copy of the lease itself, we will discuss the ins and outs and the costs?
We've all had a copy of the old lease.
Discuss on the principle of it, and then once the principle, do we sign or not, and sort it out, then we can go into all the legalities later on. What we vote the principle for the whole legalities.
It's whoever put it on the agenda they wanted to raise. So I mean, I would propose we have had some discussions with RMBC. I mean, personally, I don't believe that we're at the point where we could make a decision, but that's up to councillors to decide. As chair, I do intend to vary the agenda at that point so that we can clear some of the business and get that to the end of the meeting to before item 10. So can I propose that we tackle this item when we get to it in the agenda? Is that all right? Okay. Any other items that for which we should exclude the press and public? Okay. Thank you very much. So item 4, to confirm the minutes of the parish council meeting held on Monday the 18th of July 2016.
3rd of August.
It says 18th of July in mine. Okay. So not the 18th of July as it says in the agenda, but the 3rd of August 2016. And which is a Wednesday. Anything on page 1? And page 2? Can I have a proposer and seconder for those?
Sorry. Oh yeah, 9/8.
Could you use the microphone, please?
Sorry. 9/8. I think I actually said I think that Clark should write the Chief Constable and the Crime Commission, because Stuart said YLCA had written to them at the meeting you went to about the Remembrance Day resources, and I was going to write to Inspector Fennell at Malton, who was involved in the discussions for the policing for those two. So it's not quite correct, and the intention is the same, but it's just how it's set out. I was going to write to the inspector that I'd had a word with at the area assembly. Just update on that. I've been to him, but I've not had a response, and he's going to get a reminder tomorrow. But I think the instance was for the clerk to write on behalf of the council to the new chief constable and the Crime Commission. Yeah, well, I've written down here. You were going to write to him. Well, whatever.
It's not a problem, because I'm going to propose you right later.
Right, okay, that's fine. I think it's just to follow that well. So I mean, you can leave it as it is. We'll just
Happy with the official
yeah,
record?
As long as one, someone does right to it, we'll not bother.
Okay.
Like I say, I've written all
Proposed. Seconder, please. Colin. All those in favour? Thank you very much. I have signed and dated the minutes. Item 6, we don't actually have any, do we? Because we yeah, so any new ones that we get go to the Grants Committee. The Grants Committee had delegated power from Council to dispose of the grants from the last meeting, so nothing comes back to Council on those. Item 7, to consider planning and licensing matters, transport issues, and to receive reports. So number 1, which is the proposed diversion of public footpath number 14.
Before you.
Go on. Stuart, and then...
Can I say that this is the RMBC writing to us to ask if we agree, and I think they're wanting an answer before a planning application, which is a bit strange. They're asking us to approve a diversion at Harry Croft. I've looked at the diversion, and for those that haven't, because the letter's not brilliant, they're proposing to do away with the red line and divert the footpath along the blue line, which is about 4 or 5 times the distance. But what they don't make clear is where is the limit of the future quarry going to begin and end. I think it does say that it doesn't really make it clear where the footpath is in relation to the new proposed diggings. I don't know.
On page 1, it says the works will not be exceeding their current boundary.
Right, so this is where I'm puzzled, because if they're not going to exceed the current boundary, why do we have to divert the current footpath?
It's because it's on the perimeter where they're going to be mining.
Well, they've just said they're not.
They're not going to exceed it. What I'm saying is they're going to quarry up to it.
Okay, sorry, ladies and gents, we've got 2 councillors that have raised their hands. Sorry, it was Clive and Jonathan.
I presume Jonathan's had a separate letter like I have. Yeah. So just for my comments, I've sent them off. I went to the Harry Croft presentation the other week, and if you can see the red line, the area they're going to be starting quarrying is that area there, which is up to where I think it's where the existing red footpath is, in that area. So what they wanted to do is to move it to the west. Is it west? Let me get me north slightly.
East.
Yeah, northeast slightly. To go around there and bypass where they're going to be working. And this is in advance of the application. What I will do at the next meeting, I'll bring. I did ask Tarmac to send the clerk copies of all their proposed workings, etc., for the new application. So we've got a full set of information. I presume that you've not had any queries through from them yet. I'll give you the guys, if you speak to Mike, it's David Atkinson still, that said he was going to send it through to us. So it's going to go on that blue there. My points were, obviously where that new blue line is, the new footpath, is where the exit from the quarry is. So you can have a pedestrian vehicular conflict at that point, as far as I can see. So I've asked them to clarify how they intend to manage that bit, because that's the access out onto Workshop Road there, which comes from, I can't remember the name of the farm down there, Anston Grange Farm, which loops around there, and that out onto the A57, so it's a big shared access. So my concern is where that's going and how it's going to work with pedestrians. I've not had a response yet from, get her name right, Jodie Holroyd. It's either Jodie Holroyd or Jane Donaldson that do it. So I've sent my comments in. I've not heard anything back from RMBC yet, so I will bring the other documents down.
Okay. So Jonathan, then Stuart, then John.
If you read the actual letter itself, it's
I think it's
the line from lines in grey. But the one which is the diversion, that is diverted at the moment. It's been diverted for about 15 years. That's a temporary diversion that came in sort of quarrying. I know it's got magnified down there, probably not
You got a comment?
It was changed when they agreed to...
And so that was a temporary diversion which has been for use years. The red line is the original path. So all we wanted to do is permanently change the diversion. That path has been there for 15 years.
It will, but that's the quarry's not been worked since then, has it? So what you've had is that path has been running across the entrance, but with no vehicles in and out. That's going to change as soon as that becomes live again. It's just it's just where how they manage that crossover.
When they applied many years ago to extend the quarry, that's when they made temporary adjustments to the path. It's been temporary for my knowledge for at least 14 years. And all they do is just turn it up.
Yeah, they turn it into a permanent diversion, don't they?
So,
Yeah, just, you're right about this temporary foot. This is not the first time this footpath's been diverted. It seems to come up, well, I say not quite often, but it comes up on a regular basis. But as I said before, I find this a bit odd, is that we're being asked to agree a footpath diversion before a planning application's even been put in. Can I make a proposal that we write back to Jodie Holroyd, we write back and say we acknowledge the letter, however the council wishes to refer judgment, reserve judgment until we see the full planning application. And then when we get the full planning application in front of us to discuss, I think that's when we can make a decision whether it's going to be good or bad for the people in the village. That's a proposal. See what we do. Well, I think proposal secretary.
Would be asked to change this temporary to be permanent. It's been temporary for 12, 14 years. So what difference is it going to make?
Right, can I ask you then, how far are they planning to, or proposing to do the new works?
Away
you don't know because you haven't seen the planning application.
Away from that blue line.
Yeah, but you've seen the application or whatever it is from the visit you made. The rest of the councillors haven't. I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm just saying we should reserve judgment until we see the full planning application. So I've made a proposal anyway.
So that's it's temporary diversion at the moment, so that temporary diversion will stand.
Philip.
Is this wording not the planning application is being requested to extend the duration of planning permission which has already been given?
It's not extending the size of the quarry. It's the life of the quarry.
Planning permission is, it's been given. All they want to do is extend it.
It is to extend the current planning permission.
So nothing's going to change, basically.
No. It's another 15 years life that they want.
It's staying the same. It's just the length. It's the duration of time that they're wanting to quarry for.
Can I just to reply to that? I understand what you're saying, Philip, and I can see where you're coming from. But by the mere virtue that we're being asked to change the footpath, something must be changing. It's not staying the same if we're being asked to move the footpath.
It's staying the same. It's staying the same as the temporary diversion is going to be permanent. So it's just firming up that will be the new permanent footpath.
I've made a proposal on this.
So we've got a proposal on the table which is to write to them and say that we defer judgment basically until we've seen the full application for planning. It's proposed and seconded. Question?
I just wanted to ask something. I'm just reading it there. It just says, as the works will not be exceeding their current boundary, diverted route should remain free. So if it's not exceeding it, why do they need to change it?
To make it permanent, because it's temporary. Because it's going to be another 15 years live. They want to. You can only have a temporary diversion, I think, for so long. At some point, you have to probably make it permanent by law. So.
Yeah, but why can't the temporary route then be the permanent route?
That's what it is.
That's what they want to do. Yeah, that's what they want to do.
No, that was the original line. That's the temporary blue line. They wanted that to become permanent. That's not in use at the moment. It's been diverted. So that's so what they wanted. Well, it does and it doesn't. It's still in place. But
this is why I'm asking for it to be deferred until we see the full planning application, so everybody's clear for what they're looking at and what they're voting for.
Well, what you're going to do
By the mere
you're
fact
going
we're
to
having
look
to
at
explain to each other what's what, it's clear we need to look at the planning
that.
application.
It's not rocket science to work out.
Okay, ladies and gents, do we have any final comments before we vote on that proposal? So just to confirm, the footpath that's there at the moment, they're asking to make that the permanent footpath, but it's been there for the last 15 years or so.
It doesn't help when members have got it in black and white and not colour.
Any further
That's the
questions?
just original one. That's the diverted one. They wanted to make that permanent.
So the blue one on yours, which is the upper one,
Yeah.
is the current.
Can we have the vote, please,
right,
Chair?
yeah,
Just
and
we'll
it's
resolve
what's
it one way or
been
another.
Let's proceed to the vote. So all those in favour of Stuart Street.
You've not got a seconder yet.
I
Did
thought
you have a
seconded-
seconder?
I thought you seconded it, Chris.
No, I didn't.
I was going to second it, because I was unaware until you mentioned it after about the boundary. And now I know about the boundary, it's answered the question, so I don't need...
Okay. In that case, do we have a seconder for Stuart's proposal? Colin? Okay. And all those in favour? Against? Okay, that falls. So, do we have a new proposal
No.
from anyone? So we do nothing, or we accept this letter? We need to reply to them.
I propose that we accept it.
Okay. So Christine proposes that we accept. It's seconded. Darren? Yeah. Okay. So we need to go to the vote. So it's proposed and seconded.
Just before we go to the vote, can I say, right, you're voting to accept the letter. And this is where we need to be tying things up a bit more. You're voting to accept the letter, but in the letter, it's asking you a question. So if you just vote to accept the letter, you're taking no action whatsoever. And they're asking whether you wish the footpath, or they're asking for your comments on whether you wish the footpath to follow its original route or follow the diversion. So you have to make another proposal if you wish it to be made permanent.
Can I propose that we have the argument and prefer to accept the diverted footpath as it is permanent?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Christine's proposal was amended. John, are you
If you read it,
Okay.
it says if you keep up the children's safety, because they wouldn't go out down there.
So actually we can just say we're happy with the proposal.
That original
So the question that it's saying is, are you happy with the proposal, and do you have any comments? So if we're basically just voting to say that we're happy with the proposal. We don't have any comments.
Chair, can we make it clear that if you try to walk the old footpath, it's following forest? That's why we're not going to
because that's not there. Right. Okay. So our proposal is to receive the letter and to confirm that the council has no objections to the proposal. Is that? Are you happy with that as the wording?
Accept
Yeah, they'll maintain it.
All those in favour? Very much, that's carried. Okay. Two planning list. So there's RB 2016-0962, removal and installation of pole. Any comments on that?
Can I make a proposal that we accept this list because trying to get more and we're not really contentious in my opinion.
Well,
Is the tower 3.5 metres bigger?
Can I just ask a question? First of all, it says it's on Todwick Road, Dinnington. Is it actually in Anson Parish? Do we know where exactly this is?
Well, the ward's Anson Woodset, but that's the...
It's in the ward, it's not in the parish. Do we know which one it is?
I can't remember seeing this one, this 31. Have we got a location? It says removal and installation of pole. I can't.
I've got a feeling this may be somewhere near the industrial estate, but I'm not sure.
No, that won't apply to us, would it? Because it's in Dinnington. I can't honestly, this is going...
Why are we even discussing it?
That's the point I'm making. Can I make a proposal that if individual councillors wish to make an objection, they do so as an individual.
We've already got a proposal on the table from Colin, which is just to accept these and say that they're not
I'll
contentious,
second that.
refer them to...
Accept them all.
Colin's proposal was to accept the whole list.
Yep, I'll second
Well,
it.
no, I don't think that's right, because you can't just accept planning proposals en masse, because people may wish to. Because what will happen now is, if your issue is seconded, what will then, by the standing orders,
It has
will only
been
allow it's being seconded. So now we have a problem, is that individual councillors will only be able to speak once on the whole of these planning applications, which is about 4 or 5 of them. Is what, sorry? Yeah, they can, but what I'm saying is, by doing it, by proposing to receive all these planning applications en bloc, you're preventing individual councillors, as part of the corporate body, from expressing comments.
I agree with Stuart. I think you should go by number, but that doesn't mean... I think we can treat them all as neighbours and planners, but I think you have to go through each list and say that, rather than just say list 31 to 34, wave it through.
Proposal still on the table. Does anyone believe that any of the items on the agenda are specifically contentious?
Well, having been on the planning portal this afternoon, the one on list 32, erection of dwelling house in rear of 3 Hillside, that has raised comments from neighbours, and the highways have asked that to be resubmitted because of the comments they've made. So that is
one to discuss.
That's probably one to discuss.
In that case, can we vote on Colin's proposal? Is that all right with everyone?
I'll second it.
It's been seconded.
Oh, right.
All those in favour of Colin's proposal? 5. All those against? It's tied. Yeah. Yes, it's tied. In that case, we'll go with the status quo. So we'll go through each one in turn. Okay. List 31.
Is the last one?
Neighbours and planners.
Neighbours and planners. So, Clive, you're proposing that be left to neighbours and planners. Do we have a second?
If anybody wants to comment.
Sorry to interrupt. You said list 31. That's the... Which one we on?
That's the poll.
Right, the poll.
0960.
Right, okay, right, just so I know where we are.
Yep.
I'll look that one up. Some of that falls in Anston, some falls in...
Well, it falls in Anston, where's the mass?
I don't know, I've never driven down there.
This is why I suggested if we make individual comments, if councillors wish, we can look on the internet when we get home.
That's why I've
Yeah, then they're going to put 3 metres on top.
Yeah. I don't think there's any neighbours.
They're going to put in a 40-foot pole.
Can I propose that we leave that to neighbours and planners? Any council wants to just check it out?
That's seconded.
On the planning board.
Can we move to a vote on that one, please? Okay. Can we move to a vote on that one, which it's proposed and seconded that we leave it to neighbours and planners? All those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. On to list 32, which is the rear extension at 6 Begonia Close, South Amston. Any comments? Jonathan, was that?
No, probably,
leave it to neighbours and planners. Any other comments?
No.
Seconder for that? Okay, Darren, all those in favour? Okay. 0974, which is the erection of a dwelling house to the rear of 3 Hillside, Northampton. I think, Clive, you had a point there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just that the consultation on that closed on the 2nd of September, so we're actually about a week out of date if anybody wants to make any comments, but I've had a look at it and it has changed since the last application. But the highways have made comments on the website and asked for some work to be done to the application, so it's going to be tweaked. So I think again, they've also had a look at that. Again, I would leave it at neighbours and planners. Yeah.
Can I just go in? We have discussed this before.
Yeah, it's a reapplication.
Because it's a reapplication. But just going back, if we'd have accepted all these planning applications in mass, we would have missed the point on this one that this is actually in the conservation area. And I think as a parish council, if a planning application comes in within a conservation area, I think we have an obligation, I'm going to say duty, but I think that's too far. I think we have an obligation to consider issues that are in the conservation area. We would have missed the opportunity to do that tonight if councillors wish. So, yeah.
Could I just make the point that RNDC will deal with all conservation matters, and there's no urgency for us to worry about that. That's my opinion.
Sorry, I apologise, I missed the first part. What did you say?
Because RNDC will look at all the conservation laws, they will deal with any of those, and I'm sure they know more about it than I do.
Can I just make the point, actually, that we're assuming, or I'm certainly assuming, that, I mean, these papers have been served on us for some time. I'm assuming that all councillors have read the papers in advance of the meeting and have investigated, and I certainly have looked at these on the planning portal, and we're expecting other councillors to have done this as well, so we don't actually have to engage in a debate about them. If we're all happy that we've investigated them and that we don't see any issues with them, then we can move it, vote on it without any extensive debate.
Yeah, the issues on that one were access off hillside last time, but that's been addressed in the second planning application, so that again is... Well, it's been addressed by the planning application, but I still aren't happy with the access onto Main Street, so they've kicked it back again for a revised plan. So it's back again, I think, with the applicant. So
have we made a proposal on this one?
Yeah,
proposed. It's been seconded. Darren?
What was the proposal? Sorry.
I was just going to leave it to neighbours and planners.
Yeah. So it's not contentious.
Okay. All those in favour of leaving it to neighbours and planners? Thank you very much. Okay. 0886, demolition of existing store and erection of 3 detached bungalows to the rear of Hillcrest. Any comments?
Is everybody aware that this is not Hillcrest, this is Hillcrest at the top of Dog Kennel Lane? The name of the property, it's a big, if everybody's looked, it's a big open area at the back and it's not going to affect anybody. 3 on the other side.
Yeah.
Is that a proposal?
Yeah.
A seconder?
They look very nice.
Okay, Darren proposed Christine, no, I'm saying Stuart. Christine, apologies Christine. Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you very much. List 33, which is 1055, it's the garage and the extension on Patterdale Way, Northampton.
Neighbours and planners again.
Yeah.
Is that a proposal?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Stuart, proposed by Clive. All those in favour? Okay. List 34, there are no items. Okay, thanks very much. Interestingly, it had the same effect as Colin's original proposal. 8, to authorise sealing of documents, exclusive rights for burial. Do we have any? We don't have any, which is always good to hear. Okay. 9, to consider matters from previous meetings. So 9.1, which is approve expenditure for rubberised sheeting to metal panels on the goalposts at Lockwood Park. So this is following the meeting with the environmental health team. It was recommended that the council investigate putting some rubberised sheeting on the goalposts in that park. And we've sought quotes, but the quotes aren't back with us yet. So that's the background. Chris, you were first, and then Stuart.
Am I missing something? Have we had information about this? So how can we decide?
Because it's on the agenda. So
because
it's on the agenda. It's deferred from the last meeting.
Yes, but have we had any information as a council on the meeting? Who was there? What was said? Why the decision was taken? Have I missed it?
The decision hasn't been taken, so...
Have we had information?
Have we
It's the
had...
fact that I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Lockwood Park.
Yes.
So the residents that were putting in
Yes.
a complaint about the noise.
Yes.
We had a meeting in the hall next door
Yes.
with environmental health.
That's the last I heard.
Yeah. Well, we had a meeting in there, environmental health there, with the police were there. At the end of that meeting, we went up to Lockwood.
Did you make a report to the council of that meeting that you had up at Lockwood?
We didn't. We
Did it come back to the council?
Council was present.
was there.
The borough council were present.
Sorry?
Are you talking about the borough council, Chris?
No, I'm talking about after we'd had the meeting in the little hall
Yes.
with our NBC and the police,
Yes.
some people who were in there
Yes.
went to Lockwood.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
But the ones who didn't go,
At the last meeting,
came
I
back
made
to
a
the last
verbal
meeting.
report. I gave you a summary of. I can give you a summary. Do you want,
I
do you want to?
think Christine's suffering just by the fact that she wasn't at the last council meeting.
Yes,
I wasn't, but I
that-
wondered if any documentation had come through that I'd missed.
We discussed it and decided that rubberised sheeting should be
Right.
employed.
Right, oh well, I apologise. Yeah.
If I give you a really quick summary of,
Yeah.
of what happened. The environmental health team proposed that we needn't look at gating Lockwood just yet. Okay.
Excuse me, but the last I heard, nobody knows who that path belongs to.
That's still
One of the
a question.
reasons.
Right.
But originally, Rotherham Borough Council were asking that we put gates up. They've changed their mind on that. As long as we're taking some sort of action, they're quite happy with that. We agreed at the last council meeting on the recommendations of the environmental health team that we would put up signs in the park, that we would make some changes to the planting, so the footpath that currently goes directly behind some of those bungalows that are being affected by the noise. We'll plant some sort of low-level shrubs in front of there to try and divert the foot traffic away from the sort of immediate back gardens of those
Right.
bungalows.
Yeah.
And we've agreed to plant some new plants basically to screen the metal farm building at,
Right.
at the bottom of the park.
Yeah, to stop
we've
the
also,
sound.
Yeah, to stop, to try, it's a long-term solution.
Right.
But to try and stop some of the sound reflection into those bungalows' back gardens. We also observed some squeaking play equipment, so our ground staff have been asked to oil and grease the play equipment so that it doesn't squeak anymore. The final recommendation from Lewis Coates, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it at RMBC, was that we investigate, so the kids are currently, there's a goalpost, and there's wire mesh to either sides of the metal panels to either side of the goalpost. When kids kick the ball and they miss the goal, it hits the metal panels and it vibrates and causes a bit of noise.
Right.
So we were asked to get some quotes for rubber sheeting to put on those panels so that when the kids kick the ball, it doesn't make that sort of reverberating sound.
Right,
So we've
thank
sought
you.
some quotes for it. So we approved the signs, we approved the changes to planting, we've got some spare plants. They can't be moved yet because of the time of year, but I think at the end of September, Brian and the ground staff team are going to move some plants and make the changes to planting. We've asked our MBC for the signs, and we're just awaiting the quotes. The update on the entrance to Lockwood is that the deeds that we have for Lockwood don't show, it's a little general rather than the agriculture, rather than the large gate, which is the agricultural access, which is shown. It's the little general, it's the little pathway between the bungalows. RMBC were under the impression that we owned it as a parish council, but it's not on the transfer deed. So it's possible that that little walkway between the two bungalows actually belongs to RMBC, or it wasn't included in the... So actually that puts the gating issue back to RMBC. So they would, if it turns out that little general doesn't actually belong to us, then RMBC would be responsible for putting any gates up there.
It was and probably still is quite common for builders to leave these little snippets. So it could be a mystery.
It could adopted.
It could. So that's what Anna's investigating at the
Right.
Sorry, I know I had a show of hands. Apologies for the long-windedness there. Did anyone else have a...
My question.
Great. Stuart?
Right. I'm a bit surprised we've got this back on again, because I was under the impression when we did all the approving at the last meeting that we agreed to plant shrubs. I don't remember if we agreed to do the signs, but obviously we did. I was under the impression that was it, that was dead and buried unless we got anything back from RMBC. Obviously we can't approve the expenditures, we haven't got them, but what I'd like to know is if we're going to put rubber matting up to stop balls bouncing against a steel plate, how long is the rubber matting going to last? Because if we put it up and it disintegrates in the next 2, 3, 6 months, we're going to be asked to put it up again and again. And at the end of the day, let's be quite frank, we've only had complaints from one resident or one house.
No,
But
whoa. James, you need to come to our house.
Ladies and gents, please do not enter into a discussion.
It was two.
Sorry, don't interrupt me while I'm speaking.
Come to our house and listen to that phrase.
Please stop. Please. We will get to it. When the chair stands, everybody has to be quiet. We need to have a civilised discussion about it. Councillors have different opinions. Members of the public have different opinions. We've made some action. We need to see where we can take this. Okay?
Sorry, I've not finished. Right. To my knowledge, we've only had one resident, and I include both people in there, who's made a complaint. To my knowledge,
if I could just...
we've had far more people come. Sorry, do you mind them speaking? We've had far more people come and speak out against doing anything on there. But again, I put the question: how long is it? Sorry, don't interrupt me. Sorry, don't shout at me, because that could be seen as bullying. I'm trying to be cordial. I'm entitled to an opinion, and you're entitled to your own.
No more interruptions from members of the public or other councillors, or I'll suspend the meeting.
So, I'll go back to what I was saying. I'd like to know if we're going to propose to put rubberised sheeting on there, and there's no decision being taken yet, that I want to know from the company how long it will last. I think we've looked at this issue in depth, and I think we've done more than what we have been asked to do, and it is contentious, but at the end of the day, we have to take into account the wider views of the whole of Anston, not just certain individuals.
Thank you, Stuart. Before we go, I think it was just Colin, I'm not sure if anybody on this side. Colin, just before we go to your point, a point of clarification. We have actually received complaints from 2 properties on the board of
sorry to interrupt them, so how come them 2 complaints? I've not seen 2 complaints. So it's never, the 2 complaints have not been put in front of the council as far as I'm aware. So if they've not been put in front of the council, we've only had 1 complaint.
Thank you. Colin.
Yeah. Stuart partly answered his own question when he talked about how long the material will last. So my point was going to be, which you then said, until we get the quotes and see the standards, we don't know.
We do.
It's as simple as that. Now, it could be, in spite of the I think it was the industrial conveyance, in which case it lasts better than a day. And it's only a piece of soft fabric, doesn't it? So, you're right, we can't make a decision until we receive the quote and see what the composition of the material is.
I agree with you.
But it won't be over, we're not talking thousands and thousands of pounds.
No, you missed the point I'm making is, if the council are of the mind to put the rubberised sheeting up, the point I'm making is, if it disintegrates, and bear in mind rubber's a natural product, if it disintegrates in 6 months, let's just say, a wild guess, let's say it costs £100, it's a wild guess. If it disintegrates in 6 months, we will then have the same cost again, possibly the same cost 6 months later. The point I'm making is we need to make sure that if we're putting rubberised sheeting up, that it's going to last. That's the point I was making. Well, again, nobody's asked. Well, I'm quite certain nobody's asked what is the shelf life of the rubberised sheeting.
Can I take Jonathan and then Darren?
Can I just ask a question? Do we have any quotes You said we don't-
No, we've asked for them and we haven't got them
So
back
can
yet.
I make a proposal that we defer till the quotes arrive, because we're not.
Okay, and Darren? Right, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I can't take questions from members of the public at the moment.
I have information that I could give you.
There is, it's just a procedure. If we let one person do it, then we let other people
Read
do
the
it.
regulations.
Okay, we have a proposal on the table. Do we have a seconder for that? Darren, you were first. Colin, you're just slightly late. All those in favour? Okay, thank you very much.
Are you going to line 2?
You won't talk about 9.2 then?
No, not fully.
So we haven't formally covered it. So again, the update that I gave in response to Chris is that actually we don't know who owns that channel between the two properties, so we're not in a position to approve the installation of gates. And our MBC are no longer asking us to put gates in at this stage. I think Stuart, you were first. Just
Yeah, again, this was said before, we need to start nailing down on what I call the small things. We're making the statement, the public statement is, we're not sure who owns that guinea. Now, if the deeds are not sure, or the deeds are not specific, well, we need to take some form of action to either alter the deeds so it doesn't show it, because the next thing's going to happen is RMBC is going to come back and say, it is yours. And then what do we do then? Because we haven't got a leg to stand on. We need to find out, and I don't know how we'll do it, but we need to find out if them deeds definitely say we own it or we don't.
I can answer that just before Jonathan's pointing. That's all right, Jonathan. So the deeds at the moment are incomplete. They've been scanned, they've been photocopied at some stage in their 40-odd years since the land was transferred. One of the pages of the deeds is missing, so there's an outline, but there's a page missing in the deeds. So Anna has asked the solicitors for a full sort of new copy of the deeds, and when we've got that, we'll be able to find out exactly who owns what, or indeed if it's still unknown as to who
Yeah,
owns
can we
it.
find out then who the last research is about, those that are responsible for it, and being researched at least be, so somebody's been and worked on it.
So who last researched? John?
Just a quick one there. When the consideration we take into this as well is the yearly cost of locking and unlocking the gates, which we need to know which.
We have talked about that, Jonathan.
It's a constant cost.
Yeah.
We don't put the gates in.
We have talked about that in previous meetings.
It's not relevant, is it, really?
Well, we can't put gates up if it's not our land.
All I'm saying is when it does come back, it is ours, it's consideration.
So will that, so will APC find out who owns that and it'll come back?
I'll put it back. So I'll take
Come back to council.
I'll put that one back on the agenda when we know.
Right, well if we put it in the minutes it's coming back.
Okay, we can minute that will come back once.
Have you contacted LDC and highways to see whether it's adopted? We should have it.
It's got to be adopted because we haven't put tarmac down.
If it's tarmac, it should probably be adopted.
So that was the third. I'd like to take 9.3 and move that later in the agenda, just so that we can get. I'd like to move it to before section 10, just so that we can get some discussion out of the way before. If that's okay.
Is it going into confidential?
We haven't voted on whether it goes into confidential or not. We'll take it as it comes on the agenda. Right with you, Chris?
Well, sorry, when are you going to take it?
At the moment it's here. Well, at the moment it's at 9.3, so it would be the next item to rule out.
Right, you're going to move it
I
to
would
where?
like to move that to after 9.12, and then we can vote on whether it goes into confidential session or not.
Right,
I want to clear some of the background on the agenda if we can. The next thing is 9.4, which was one of my items, which was to approve the purchase of plate, but we discussed this at the last meeting, and I'd like to withdraw that because we concluded the discussion at the last meeting on that.
Can I just say, I think, I've got the minutes in front of it, I think we deferred it until Councillor Manship was going to come back with a report, and obviously we haven't got a report.
I think he's done his report.
But we haven't got it,
It's not.
so can we leave it for him to put back on as it were?
I'd like to withdraw it because we had a discussion about funding. We agreed in the end that it's something to revisit when we're looking at budget money.
Yeah.
So rather than having rolled through the agenda, we approved at the charity meeting, we approved David Oldroyd to put in a grant application on the charity's behalf. So I just propose that I'm going to withdraw that.
Okay.
No, I think it's a budget.
9.5, are you happy if we defer this on? This is something that I haven't had time to cover. Councillor Jepson, so 9.6, to receive an update regarding implications for Suffolk Police decision not to police the Remembrance Day or the bonfire.
Well, I think this is nearly a roll through one, but I'll tell you as much as I know at the moment. I've emailed the area inspector that covers this.
Could you use the microphone, please? I can't catch everything.
I am doing, Christine.
It's not close enough, love.
I contacted the area inspector that I discussed this issue with at the area assembly in July, I think it was. I've not received a reply from him as yet. I asked him if they'd decided if they were going to police it, and also I copied Anna and Drew in on this one, that I informed him that Bonfire Night is actually going to be on the 6th, the Sunday, which hopefully doesn't present as many problems for police resources as it might have done if it was actually on the 5th, on the Saturday night, which if that fell on the Saturday night this year, it's likely to be a bit of a wild night probably from their point of view. So he's aware of that, but I've not had anything back. So the only thing I can do is chase him up tomorrow. And I think with regard to South Yorkshire Police, again, I would suggest that the clerk writes to PCC and the new Chief Constable and asks if they can let us know what they're intending to do, because we need to know sooner rather than later as to whether what they're going to do. Do you want to speak to?
I'm going to make a proposal, if that's all right. My proposal is this, that the council writes to the Police and Crime Commissioner and asks him to reconsider his position on the withdrawal of police cover for our Remembrance Day parade and Bonfire Night, and express our disappointment at the decision that's been taken, and further that the council write to our 3 RMBC councillors to ask them to lobby the PCC on our behalf. That's the proposal.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favour?
Have you already written?
Only to Inspector Fennell, because he polices it from Maltby, that covers this area, so he's part of the discussion. When I last spoke to him, he said they'd not made a definite decision.
So we are, as a parish council, right
Yeah,
to...
well, I did make that point to him at that area assembly meeting. He may well be there on Monday afternoon, because there's an area assembly meeting
I never get told of them.
at Dinnington, at Bungalow Complex on, what do they call it now? I can't think of its name. Off New Street.
I'm not hearing you.
At 2 o'clock till 4, and hopefully there's somebody from the police will be there. So if he's there and I've not had a reply by then, I'll ask him politely, against if got anything for us.
Thanks, Clive.
Right to the 3 borough council. It's
Councillor Wilson.
Or Wilson Velez, we don't know what we call it.
It's just Catherine Wilson, dot Wilson at Rotherham dot gov. Okay. Catherine dot Wilson at Rotherham dot gov dot uk. Standard council address.
Okay. So this, Jeff.
Just a quick question. If a negative response has come back, what contingency plans do we have?
Good point.
Especially for the remote state service, will we...
Maybe the other Councillor Ireland's agenda item might give us those contingencies. Stuart, is yours in response to item 9.6?
Right, no, I'll wait till the next one if we're going to discuss payment, because I've got some ideas.
So we're off item 9.6. We're going to write to the people that we've mentioned, the councillors and ACC, and item 9.7. So, John? So this is to consider or approve paying for road closures for the two events.
Well, I'd like to amend that just for information, that's all. It's actually a proposal to decide if we are going to pay for them, or council's consideration, just so I get information there. That's all.
Stuart, Clive.
Yeah, obviously now we'll have to wait until the PCC replies. Let's hope the reply is in the positive, because I think politically, if the PCC withdraws police cover for Remembrance Day parades, I think it's on very dodgy political grounds. I do know there's other councillors of his own party in the borough who are not happy at this police withdrawal. I think hopefully we should get a reply to this letter quite quickly, and that's when we will have to make a decision. I think as a council, if they come back and stand their ground, we will have to look at alternate finance. Now, maybe we should go back to RMBC and ask them to finance us from some community fund, or we ask the area assembly, or we could even, as a last resort, ask the 3 RMBC councillors if they would like to use their leadership fund to contribute to the cost of the road closures. That's something for discussion at future date.
Sorry, John, we've got. Can I take you after Clive?
Can I just add a bit to that? On Thursday, I'm at the RMBC and Parish Town Council working group at the Town Hall, and one of the items is road closure and licence costs. And I think the Cabinet member and one of the officers had a meeting with Colin Knight and Karen Hanson, who are Colin Knight's in charge of the highways and Karen Hanson is community safety. So I'd like to ask if, following that meeting, if I can bring it back to the next council meeting, what they say at that, and see where we stand. I also have to say that I received an email from Councillor Thorne, who'd done some digging work. I don't know where he found it, but and I've passed that on to RMBC Highways, and I hope I'm going to get a response to that, because I've asked him what Colin asked me was, is this still a valid decision that was made in 2010, I think it was, Colin, wasn't it? If you could just check, Drew.
Is it the prices?
No, it's some other item that's relevant to this.
John, do you mind if...
No.
With the permission of the Chair, when the question of paying for road closures was scientific digging, and in Rotherham Council's archives, I found some minutes or a copy of a report on the 1st of November 2010. Now, I'm not familiar with all the ways and where the all proposals are, but there are two things. If the road closure is under the Highways Act, Rotherham Council wants to take us nearly £1,000. However, there's a thing called the Town Police Clauses Act 1847, I believe. And it says on the report, under the Town Police Clauses Act, the time taken to administer the making of a road closure is low, and the cost to the council in doing so is negligible. Subsequently, a nil charge is thought reasonable in circumstances where the Town Police Clauses Act is used
That is why I sent a copy to Councillor Gibson and a copy to Councillor Jonathan Ireland, because I think I've organised it. And you're welcome to look at the copy if you want.
Is this,
It seems to me, it's a tax on Memorial Day parades and bonfire celebrations. It is a covert tax. I deplore anything like this, you know, and John made the point. We already pay a high police precinct, so I really don't think we should have to pay those fees. Now, Councillor Jonathan already made the point. Yeah, if it all goes to Tom, what's the plan do? I don't know. I don't know.
John. Well, I'm getting a bit fed up with this parish council pussyfooting and messing about. What we should do is write to the British Legion and tell them that our perimeter day service has been threatened by the police refusing to leaders across the road. But that is what it is, and we should tell the headquarters of the British Legion that something that they pressed for has been undermined by the police, and they should help us and take action against them. But if we don't make enough noise, we sit back and we just accept people don't face, don't we? Thanks, Tom.
So, just quickly, I agree in principle what you're saying, John, about writing to Legion, but in a way, I think it's, I hate to use the word a waste of time, because that's probably not, but the thing is, the operational decision not to police lies with either the, I think it's this title is the Chief Superintendent or the PCC. Now, the ultimate responsibility for police operations is the PCC, and as it's just been alluded to, he's put our tax up, police precept up, I think twice in the last 2 years, and has withdrawn most of our services from Dinnington, which covers this area. And at the end of the day, the person that we should be shouting at loudest is the PCC. He's the political head, and he has the power to make political decisions. And as I said before, there's people in his own party who are not happy what's going on, because it's an emotive subject, is the British Legion. This parade we have here, from my knowledge, I know for certain, it's been going on at least 50 years, but there's anecdotal evidence it's been going on since the 1920s, when the Lichgate was first built. So in effect, for him to make this operational decision, I think he needs to be brought to account and made to justify why he thinks it's reasonable to withdraw this cover. I agree with saying about the Legion, but I don't think he'll have any good at this time, to be honest.
Yeah. The thing is, we just accept it. We're not making any noise. It doesn't matter. Look, if you've got to, what I suggest, anybody who's getting big guns out, get them in the press. Just make them feel ashamed of themselves.
there's not only us that's something.
We just hear saying, oh dear, what are we shame, what we're going to do, we're going to make a mistake in front. Well, put them onto the rack and attacking them. And say, this is a disgrace, and it is a disgrace. That the thing that we're doing to honour the people who died, to make us free so we can make these decisions, we're not going to go. And it's going to be made by some police inspector who don't care a bugger about us.
I think you're right. We need to publicise this.
Can I just say from a personal point of view, when I've had occasion to speak to the PCC, which you know, I do stand up to him, because it's a political appointment, and he, in effect, is making or is approving political decisions. And you're right, he should be held to account. Because as a corporate body we can't shout, that's why I've suggested we write to the PCC asking to justify his decision. We're limited as a council what we can do, but you're right, we should be standing up and holding him to account.
Can I just can I just add a bit?
Can we take?
Is it Clyde?
Sorry. When we were at the meeting at Dinnington that he attended, he did actually say that he was in favour of these events being policed, but unfortunately I think what happens is operational decisions are sometimes out of his remit, and he's sort of committed himself at that meeting, but then I think his chief inspector was organising this, had a different view, so I think we'll see where we are at the moment. But I think with regard to the road closures and what have you, as I say, I'm at that meeting on tomorrow, so I'll take that up with them. I've got the information that was sent through to the clerk from the licensing officer for Highways and Streetworks. We had this at the last meeting, which gave a quote. I forward that email of Collins to the cabinet member who's attending the meeting tomorrow, and her officer, and also one of the highways officers whose name is mentioned on it. So we'll see what response we get to that. But as I say, if we can wait until that meeting, and then I'll bring it back on the 19th, is it? And hopefully we'll have some more information as to whether we're going to get charged. If they say yeah, and she, you know, we get some sway there, then we, because Dinnington are in the same position. There are lots of other parish councils for their Christmas event, our bonfire night, etc., etc. So I don't see why we should pay twice. If we have our rate support grant taken off us again this year, that's 10,300 we're losing. We're going to expect it to pay for village events. It's all stacked one way, and it's not in our favour. So if members are happy for me to, as I say, I'll take all that information with me tomorrow and see if I can get a response. The good news about that is that they're now actually giving us a proper time slot for a meeting that we used to get an hour from before from a previous cabinet member. We now got 2 hours, and all the parishes are represented there. So it's a better forum than we've had for actually raising parish issues. So I'll be putting some more stuff on at the next meeting about things that concern us and the Borough Council, not least the removal of the rate support grant, because I think that needs to be looked at again.
Thanks, Clive. Chris.
Thanks, Chair.
Could I just suggest that we write to them all then? Stuart suggested the Crown Commissioner, John suggested the newspapers and the British Legion. If we could make a bit more noise, I do agree with you, John.
We're getting, you see, Chair, we're getting like 2 weeks ago, one of the truck loads died in Rotherham, and the school room. It was screwing in the ground. There's nothing like this. And she said, I'm not dead, I'm not dead. And then he says, it's too late, mate, you want to make paper down.
Not appropriate in a serious
Is it true, John?
Shall we move on?
I think if we get the response and they're not going to do it, then we move on to another.
Can we ask the clerk to write to those three?
Is that a proposal, Chris?
Yes.
Can I just fill it? Did I not say to copy it? You know about writing to Maltby?
Oh, I didn't mention that. I don't
No,
think
sorry,
you
I didn't hear
did.
what, I thought you said you wanted...
Crime Commissioner.
Right, I propose we write to the Crime Commissioner.
We've done that.
We've done
British
that.
Legion.
We've not done that.
We've not done that. Was there somebody else?
Newspapers.
We've not done that.
Right.
What?
And
Did
the
you
three
mention Maltby,
ward councils.
Stuart?
Yeah. Sorry?
Did you mention Maltby?
No, I was just clarifying because I couldn't remember if I'd asked, if I mentioned to copy in the, I think his rank's Chief Superintendent, the guy in Maltby, but obviously I haven't.
Oh, right, yeah.
Butterworth.
I'd forgotten all the police have gone to Maltby.
So I'll email them on the moment.
I
No, please,
understand what you're saying.
Dinnington.
I think at this moment in time, right, see again, I go back to the operational decision or the overall control will be the PCC. So I think, yes, we could write to the others, but how much effect will it have? That's what I'm mindful of.
Well, we don't know, but that's not the reason not to write, is it? How are the public going to know
I'm not
there's
going
no
against it, I'm
Remembrance
just
Day
sort of
parade this year if we don't start to let them know?
Okay, thank you.
Was that a proposal was asked?
It was a proposal. Yeah. Darren. Is it?
Oh.
Mine's
It don't
not-
matter.
The only thing I can say is the times of the essence, again, bonfire nights, just round the media was on it.
Yeah,
Okay. We have a proposal on the table to write to.
I forgot.
British
Do you want the list?
The British Legion.
British Legion, have you already
Can we just propose that?
complained to the Crime Commissioner? Have you already done that?
Done the Police and Crime Commissioner.
You've done that? Well, do it again then. It's not hurt him to get another one, will it? That the parish council have discussed it and we want to object.
It's probably a newspaper into that must be like
Well, it's if they print it as well, Darren.
Christine, just for the sake of
Crime
getting...
Commissioner and British Legion.
For the sake of getting through this, could the proposal be to write to any relevant individuals or bodies?
Well, as long as Alan's got it down.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Anna's got it down. And then if any other councillors If any other
Any other
councillors think
idea?
of an individual or a body that we should write to, let the clerk know, and she can fire off the same letter to.
Would councillors be prepared to vote for notices on council notice boards? Because it's amazed me recently, actually, how many well, it's informing the public of what's going on, because I'm sure the man in the street's got no idea.
But we're in that time, we've been here before with many items where we talk about things like this.
Yeah.
And then we fetch it back to meetings and put it back to the next meeting. It's now September.
Well, I'm asking now if we do posters.
Do you have to have a notice in force 30 days prior to the event? Am I right saying?
No, I mean just to inform them, Darren.
I forget how many.
Just to inform the public.
It's a public notice in the newspaper. I think it's, I know it's 14 days prior.
So we need to know what that is, because you're going to...
Right, we need to know what I'm in this month.
I don't know what he's talking about. What's that?
I think it's just having people at bonfire. Can we vote on, Chris, can we vote on your proposal then?
Right, Crime Commissioner, British Legion.
And any other relevant bodies as notified by councillors to the clerk, is that all
Yeah,
right?
that we object.
Great.
What's happening and that we object.
Yeah, that's right. Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried. Great. Okay. So, John, in terms of approving paying for road closures, do you want to move anything on that, or?
No, that's just information. I'll withdraw that item, but...
Okay.
That's I'll take that a look at.
We can't really do anything anyway until we get back to the reply from the PCC, and then we can make a decision.
Can we raise it? I mean, we're just mindful of the number of meetings that we've got between now and bonfire night, as Darren says. If we don't get any reply back, can we defer that one to the next meeting so that it appears on the agenda anyway, so that we can actually make a decision if it comes right down to the wire and we just have to pay for it, or we just have to walk out onto the A57?
You do have an option, Chair, to call an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
At any time.
Okay.
And as long as you've got 5 councillors that you can proceed.
We can do it. Great. But are you happy to roll it forward rather than withdraw it?
Yeah, that's fine. Even withdraw it, it can be discussed further.
Move that to the next meeting.
Move to the next meeting. Councillor Thornton, discuss meetings with outside bodies.
We've already done it at the last meeting. We did this at the last meeting, so that we'll just move on.
Okay. 9.8 withdraw.
Said on it.
9.9, we deferred this one because Chris, you weren't here at the time. So that's 9.9. Councillor Sadler to elect one councillor to be the sole point of contact between APC and the skate park group.
Right, it's just that Sandra, who's trying to raise funds for the skate park, asked if I would be the liaison. It came up because she's got some bodies in neighbourhood something. What is it, Clive? What's it called? What's that?
Don't know.
Will you go to it? Who's helping with funding? Sorry. Area Assembly, yeah. Who's helping with funding, but they need some document signing, and she'd asked Miles and he's done nothing about it. So she asked me if I would try and get something done. So I said I will ask if the council will let me liaise between the skate park committee and the council.
What was that, Chair?
Can I just come in before?
I've just got one question on the other.
I can see where you're coming from on this, Chris. The thing, and I'm going to harp on about it again, and I've told Councillor Blanchard time and time again, he doesn't have to liaise with the parish council.
No, but it's just to come back, Stuart, because they're needing permission to build on the charity land. That's why.
Let me clarify.
We know
a bit
it's
more.
nothing to do with the council.
Right. The land the skate park is on is the charity, and I've told Councillor Manship time and time again, if he wants to do any action on the skate park, he has to liaise with the charity.
Well, I've done that, Stuart.
Yeah, I'm still saying. And what the process would be is, just say for instance, he brings an issue up around the skate park to the charity. or if he wishes, if we have a liaison person with the charity, he can bring that up, and then the charity can make the decision if they need some form of information passing to the council. What I'm trying to prevent is, we're now discussing an issue between a community group and the charity in a council meeting, and we need to get it straight that charity issues have got to be in a charity. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So ideally, the
So
liaison,
you're just saying it's charity?
the liaison person needs to be doing it through the charity, not the council.
Right.
I don't know why he don't listen to me, because I can't make it any more plainer to him. There's no need to be involved in the council until such time as an issue comes up that the council has to be notified.
And it's also sometimes there are issues with the existing skate park that the youth report back to Sandra, and she wants it reporting to the council to get the repairs done.
That's it. The only...
So it needs to be a council matter because it's a maintenance issue.
Right, it's only... You're right, it's only a council matter if it's to do with maintenance.
Right, well that's
everything
it
else
then.
to do with the skate park. I'm assuming, am I wrong? I'm assuming that we're on about the project for the new skate park. Or we're just talking...
We are, but the existing one also.
So this way we need to, this is why I keep saying it needs to go to the charity to simplify matters.
Right, but because the council is in charge of maintenance, I need to be liaised between the council and the skate park, so that they can say to me, this repair's needed, the kids have reported this, that and the other, will you let the council know? And this all stems from Sandra being insulted at council and at charity meetings.
Okay, thank you, Chris. John?
Can I make an amendment to the proposal that council have a to go between the parish council and charity and landscape?
Wonderful.
Okay, so we have a proposal, we have a seconder. No further comments from anyone? All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. 9:10, I'm just conscious of time. We've got 10 minutes. There are a few things that I would like to finish off if we can. Chris, is this one that will take quite a long time?
Well, because it's been coming for about 6 months, yes, I'd rather leave it.
Okay, leave it to the next
meeting. Can I move it to the next meeting?
Yeah, you can move it to the next meeting. Okay. 9:11, to receive the fines from Durham University.
Not proposed yet.
We haven't. We've not received. So we've got 6 months. Stuart.
Yeah, just to clarify, it says to receive fines. Do we mean paperwork or actual artefacts?
No, it's the artefacts, Stuart.
Right.
Because, Mark from Durham said, because the fines were found on parish council land, they officially belong to Anston Parish Council. So I said I thought the best place for them to go would be Creswell, because they've got storage, and also they also have fines there from previous digs in Anston Parish, and because we know where to put them. So would you agree to these fines going to Creswell?
Comments from councillors? Does anyone object to that?
I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
But we need to be clear, because obviously, like I say, the previous fines were found in the 1960s, I think it was.
I don't know when. They've got a bare tooth. I don't know when that was.
I don't think the parish got any choice where they went. I think they went to I'm not sure whether it's Sheffield. And how Creswell got them, I don't know.
Well, Creswell's got stuff, but apart from the bear tooth, I don't know.
I don't know what the proper procedure is, because first is we haven't got the capacity to store them anyway.
They've got
rather than give them to
storage at Creswell, being in there.
Yeah, rather than give them to Creswell, we may need to look at the option of they're on loan if it's our property. I don't know. It's something we probably need to investigate a bit more. I can see what you're saying, because they will be safe there.
Well, they'll be with the other stuff as well. I don't know anything about some going to Sheffield.
So, how about the proposal, just to move things on, that we receive the fines when they can we agree to receive them when they arrive?
Can I ask Durham to send them to Creswell?
That was the question that Stuart's raised. So, first of all, we need to receive them, don't we, into our possession, and then.
I'd rather not. They can go straight to Creswell.
Technically, we just need to receive them into our, because we've got an agenda item to receive them. So I think technically we just need to.
Can I just jump in? Can I just ask? What are the objects?
I don't know why that's worded like that. To receive fines by. No, because anyway.
Christine, what are the objects we're talking about? What actually are they?
Well, I don't know exactly what they found. They found parts of a Roman pot, and what was the other thing?
Find some stone tools.
Flint, flint. Oh, yeah, flint they found.
So,
yeah.
So it won't be
flint isn't found in this area.
So it won't be a problem that if we have them sent here, and as soon as we receive them, then we will have a look at taking some advice what we do with them, with a view to giving them to Creswell.
Well, if that's what we've got to do, because at the end, the agenda item, unless, can we change that to Durham to send them to Creswell?
We just need to legally receive the fines, don't we, at this stage? And then
I don't know why.
No, we don't have to receive them physically. We've just got to
so
agree that we own them.
We've
just got to basically say that we agree that we own the fines, and
can we
just
agree that they go? Well, I want specifically for the councillors to agree that they go to Creswell.
Is that a proposal?
Yes.
So Chris is proposing that we receive the fines and that we loan.
Sorry.
And that we loan them to Creswell.
We would have to define ownership. This is why I'm
long-term loan.
A long-term loan.
This is why I'm suggesting that if we receive them first, then we can look into it, because we would have, if they went to Creswell.
Do you mean physically receive?
Physically receive them.
Are you going to take responsibility for them?
Well, no, because we have.
Well, we know where to store them, Stuart.
We've got an office, we've got an
If
archive.
they come here, I've got to then take them to Creswell.
You don't have to take them to Creswell.
Well, how are they going to get there?
But we haven't made a decision where they're going yet.
Well, that's what I'm asking
you
for.
The point I'm trying to say is, you can't just say we're going to give them to Creswell, because there's a question of ownership. Are we going to give them to Creswell? Are we going to loan? Well, we have to have an agreement in place if we're going to loan them to
Well, Mark has already said they belong to Anston Parish Council. So I am now asking you lot, can these fines that belong to Anston Parish Council be sent to Creswell for storage on long-term loan?
Is that your proposal?
Yes.
The long-term loan.
Thank you.
I can't see the point. Everybody that wants to see them has seen them either before.
Oh, they can go to Creswell. See the other lot while they're there. I don't want to take responsibility for those fines.
We're not saying is, I think most people around the table in agreement that a safe place to keep them would be Creswell. The point that was coming up was, are you going to loan them to them on a long-term issue, therefore we need paperwork, or are you going to give them, and therefore we also need paperwork? You can't just receive them here, walk down there and give them to them. You have to have some procedure. As silly as it sounds, you've got to have some document to clarify what we're
fair
doing.
enough. So we'll ask the clerk to draw up a document to email to Mark.
So the proposal is that we'll receive the fines from Durham University, and the clerk will liaise with Creswell to establish the terms of the long-term loan.
And Durham.
And Durham.
To send them to Creswell on long-term loan.
Seconded.
If you condense that into a 3-page document.
Thank you. Because there's a museum there, whereas they'd end up in one of our storage cupboards, so they may as well go in the museum. Yep.
Item 9, 12, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10, 11, because otherwise we're going to be here all night.
Can I ask as well, Chair, I know we've not agree about, but I think there's a lot more information to be put together about the Krogan issue. And I know Councillor Smith said something again at that meeting tomorrow. There's an agenda item regarding community asset transfer, which is where we started off with this issue of Krogan. the strategic director of regeneration and environment is supposed to be attending. And if I can read out a minute from the last meeting, which has not been accepted agreed yet, but this is a bit out of the issue. PTS matters on this is asset management to do with asset transfers, leases, etc. PTS matters on this issue to be expedited despite tenders by Jonathan Marriott. Previously implemented the material change, the parish council agreed on examples were given of delays in effecting transfers, etc. to the detriment of parishes. Council has seen suggested the policy response from the end of the rules to keep that for regeneration and environment to find out what's happened to the sort that issue. So there's a whole raft of things that will hopefully come out of that will influence people's decisions, and I'd rather everything in front of councils to make a properly informed decision than we're on our cop and what we've got so far, because we've got bits and pieces all over.
Is this Kroger?
This is Kroger.
Right.
And I want to give everybody all the information so they can sit and think, have a look at it and digest it, we can make an informed decision.
Are you saying we defer it? Is that what you're saying?
If we can.
I'll agree with you to defer it, because again, it's nothing personal, but I think that RMBC councillors should not be discussing contracts between an independent council and RMBC because they have a conflict of interest, whether it's personal or not.
I'm not discussing this with the parish council representative.
That's
No,
okay.
you can't.
But what I'm saying is,
I don't agree with that.
it's not personal. There's a conflict of interest, I believe.
There's got to be.
I have spoken to the monitoring officer, and I'm not getting satisfactory answers out of him. He's sitting on the fence, and we're paying this man a lot of money to sit and say nothing, and I think he needs to be chased up further. If you're saying we're going to delay it, I'm happy to delay it.
There's, as I said, there's an issue as well that's been decided at Baton Moorland in Swinton, whereby the commissioners have made a decision to transfer that to the ownership rather than the lease. So the set precedent on this meeting, I want to explore on that group as to how we can.
But then transferred onto the parish council.
They've transferred it to a recreation ground charity.
Yeah.
They've got rid of it off. You've seen the one, haven't you, Jonathan? It's
Got it off the book.
And they've got it off the book, basically. And I'd like to bring more information back to the way so we can have a look at that and see the better way.
The fact still stands that we made a lawful decision on that issue.
Well, I'd say I wouldn't hear that one, so it's not looking at if I can...
Are you proposing that we defer it?
Yes.
Are you seconding it? 'Cause I'll second it.
Are you seconding, John?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favour? Thank you. I'm conscious that we need to move back into public session. I know, Colin, are you happy to defer those? You're happy to defer the items?
To defer 9, 12, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10.
Great. There is an item that we need to get to. Are we happy that Kroget is best discussed at the next meeting?
Just voted, haven't we?
Yeah. We have 10.2, which, considering that the course is on...
Can I just jump in? So 10.1 we need to do 10.1 today, because if it's an agreement that council's going to attend this training, we need to be looking at booking hotels.
Can we take 10.2 first, and then 10.1? The YLCA course for the clerk is on Friday. So we really need to approve that today. The cost, there are two courses. The YLCA course is £115, and then there's another course which is required for HR purposes, so conducting appraisals for staff. So the total there is 160. Sorry? You proposed? There is a second part to it. So there's a... In fact, let's take that one. So the sort of essential course that's here is 115 plus 45, so that's 160. So that's the YLCA course plus HR appraisals, etc. Now, Michael has suggested that both clerks attend the Wakefield Regional Roadshow, and that is finance and pensions, devolution to local councils, health and safety and insurance, risk management for the council, and we've got dealing with potentially serious incidents and law for local councils.
So what was
the total cost?
What was the organisation of that last one?
So is that? Yeah.
Right.
So it's 160, which is YLCA plus human resources course, and then £79 each for Anna and Michael to attend the course that I've just mentioned, which comes to a total of £318.
Can
We have a proposer.
I'll second it. Can I,
I think that's including VAT.
can I just say quickly, I'll second that. Although it sounds a lot of money, it's essential training that our clerks need to go on. Although it sounds expensive, when we come to things like insurance and dealing with emergency events, we do need our employees to be up to date and know what they're doing. So I think it's quite justified to spend that amount of money.
For the benefit of members of the public who haven't been here before, Anna's our new clerk, so she's relatively new in post and has to go on sort of mandatory training. Once she knows it, and it's not a recurring yearly cost. So we've got a proposal. John proposed it, and Darren, you'll second it. All those in favour? Thank you. We are. How quick is yours going to be?
Well, it's a case of just fairly quickly because it needs approving. Right. Almost every year, the Yorkshire Local Councils Association, they have a conference which is more of a training programme than a conference. I think, has everybody seen a copy of it? I think it was sent round. What they've done this year is that in the past we've sent councillors on there. I've been on it almost every time. Clive's been on it and previous councillors were on it. It's a conference, but it's a training session where you do a series of workshops where you learn about different things. I think there's insurance on there this year. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. My recommendation is that as many councillors as possible go on this course, especially with having a lot of new councillors. It will give you a lot more insight of how councils are supposed to work in general rather as opposed to what we do here. Now the problem with it is this year, for some reason, I don't understand why, they've decided they're going to charge for the actual conference time, but not and leave the arrangements for the hotel to individuals, which I think is one of the biggest mistakes they're going to make. In the past, the council agreed to pay the full cost, which included hotels and the course. It sounds a lot of money, it probably is a lot of money, but I wholly recommend that every councillor who's able to go on this, because it will give you a big insight of what the bigger picture is, and it covers subjects that we really need to know. Things on employment, insurance, everything. So, although it's expensive, I haven't got the figures with me. So, I propose that any councillor who wishes to attend this course, that the council pay the conference fee and the cost of hotel accommodation subject to confirmation.
How much is the conference?
Sorry, Colin. We've got Paul and then Jonathan, and then I'll put you in the queue. What? Oh, I thought you stuck your hand up.
No.
Jonathan, you definitely did stick your hand up.
Before we make a decision, we can't decide or approve anything in principle before we answer the cost. So until we've got some figures of the cost of the conference and any limits of cheap bed and breakfast, not a hotel, then we can't make a decision.
Right. What the problem?
We need full figures, so.
Right. What the problem is, because time's running out, is yes, we know what the cost of the conference is. I haven't got the figures on me. I think I'm just trying to look now. Right. The cost of the actual conference per person, if you want to go the whole weekend, it will be £190. But that's a Friday night. There's Friday night training session or speech all day Saturday and up to Sunday dinner time. The hotel accommodation, you're quite right, we don't know what that is. But until we get figures of councillors who wish to attend, there's a scheme by where councils have to contact Scarborough Council and they will give a price list of all the hotels for individual councils or councils to choose which one they want.
Okay.
I mean, I do recommend it because it is good training.
So Colin and then Darren, but can I just add, the clerk's just pointed out the costings are in your packs. Colin?
Cost of what, Joe?
The costing is there's a booking form in the pack.
Right.
10.1. Colin, and then Darren.
Did I not propose?
What number is it? Oh, sorry.
Before city councils attend, excluding hotel costs, £2,660.
Yeah.
I personally object to this, simply because it's about time we start the old economies in our neck of the woods. Why should we have to pay for it? Why don't we come out of their ivory tower, out of the seaside resort, and start coming to the smaller parishes? Now, I will not vote to spend £2,600 of taxpayers' money on a weekend. I accept these for training purposes, I accept we can all learn from them, but in these times, if everybody's making cuts, we should be seen to be making and controlling costs at the same time.
Darren and then Chris. I've got 3 minutes before we need to go to public session.
What date is this?
It's October...
28th.
If we've left it this late, we should leave it till...
No, the information's only just come out, actually.
They've only just announced that they're going to do a conference with...
In the last month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not very old. There's nothing in the budget. I agree with Colin. We were probably better paying the lady that came and gave us training on a block. When we can all make sure we're there on the evening. We're not paying for the hotels.
Right. It works out more expensive by bringing the lady down here. Can I just say, I know...
Sorry, can we go to Christine?
What, even with the hotel?
£45 per head for a training you want, and this weekend...
Well, it costs you double that for a
Right.
hotel at least.
Right. For the amount of training you'll get this weekend, because it's not just on one subject, there's workshops, there's planning workshops and all sorts. The amount of training you will get will far outweigh the cost. Yeah, you're right, it's a lot of money. But I'll tell you now, from my personal experience on here, as a council, we need a lot more training in how we conduct ourselves and how we conduct business, etc.
Could I suggest
I'm not
an
going to go at any
alternative?
individuals, but as a council, we need to know a lot more than what we do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Stuart. But as an alternative, would you consider going as APC representative and coming back and giving us a workshop?
I wouldn't be
know
able to
it's
do
not
that.
the same.
I wouldn't be able to do that because it covers lots of different workshops. I couldn't lecture you on
So
insurance,
does
anyway.
that mean you can't attend
It really
all
is,
the workshops?
it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because the proposal that's been put to delay it to get hotel costs has basically just put the kibosh on it, because by the time we've got individuals who want to go, by the time we've got the costings, bearing in mind there's different hotels to look at, we won't have it back here in time. So in effect, Councillor Ireland just put the kibosh on training for the
Can
whole
I
of this
not
council.
make another proposal?
Training that he probably needs.
Can I do that or not?
And then give a proposal to approve or authorise.
Okay, so can we have a proposal to approve it?
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah.
If you're happy with that, because you did use the word proposal, Stuart, but you...
Right, what are you authorising? To approve or authorise what?
Can I just make a quick point? You basically, the council just used, you don't remember this, we used to organise 2 people to go to this, and it was up to anybody that wanted to go first one in, or first 2 in, got the opportunity. I've been on it before. Stuart's right to a certain extent, but I must admit, I've learned more of this. Of course, I think sometime later this year, it the demand of that £45 a head for local government finance, parish council finance, which I think we should attend in large numbers, but I'd say I've used to send 2 as a maximum because of the cost. And I think, if I agree with Colin, I think if we spend £2,500 on that, then I think we could put ourselves in line for if you might be spending on other things. So.
We do not think, right, I understand the argument perfectly about the cost, but the amount of knowledge you councillors need is justified.
Are we proposing, what are we proposing now? Stuart?
I made a proposal yet.
No, it was Jonathan. Have you withdrawn it?
My proposal is just to stick to what the wording is there. That's the proposal, but no one's proposed anything. So
Can I make a proposal that the council authorises 2 councillors to attend, and if only one wants to go, then but up to 2, but no more than 2, to to attend the weekend conference to come back and give a report like we've done before.
No, that would need to be, you want, obviously, the people that have been before, you want new councillors.
I don't think and I've been on, so I think it's unfair for me to.
So would
So
the
it would be-
proposal of new councillors?
No, make it anybody down, and because if nobody wants to go, we're going to be stuck, aren't we?
I would like
I'm
to
not
go
going, I'm
for the
telling
pure
you
simple
now.
practice. I think it's appropriate that I should be updated and trained, same as every other councillor. And I'm afraid if we've got a situation where councillors don't want to be updated and trained, which they do need, I think people ought to start considering where they're coming from on this council.
I think
people around this table
you're making sweeping statements there, Stuart. People might have very good reasons for not going.
I think we should remember it was Mr Clark who was trained legally to give us advice when we need it.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to put a
Proposal forward, because otherwise we're going.
I'm going to propose then. I'm going to propose that 2 councillors be authorised to attend the YALC conference between the 28th of the 10th and 30th of the 10th this year, and the cost to include the conference and hotel bill.
Okay, so the proposal for 2 councillors, cost to include conference
I'll
and
second
hotel,
it.
that's seconded by Christine. All those in, well actually,
Is that a caveat? How many hotel bills to an upper limit?
Well, this is the problem. This is why I didn't do it, because I can't give you an upper limit until we've been to Scarborough Council.
I just proposed. You're shooting from hip round here.
Well, sorry, I didn't realise you'd done it because it wasn't getting through.
I just propose up to 2 councillors, up to 2, be given authority to attend the conference and accommodation. And a report back to council. And when last time I wrote most of back to the link, it's better to distribute it, have a discussion on it.
Is it seconded? Let's go on.
it's proposed and it's seconded. I'm afraid we don't have time for any further discussion. We'll move to the vote. Could I have a recorded vote, please?
No, 3 of you are.
We are. There's been a proposal and a seconder.
I've asked for
The
yeah, I've asked for a
recorded
recorded vote.
I get a discount.
We're
I
having
get a
one,
discount.
John,
Because I'm on the
recorded.
Discount for going.
I only get 10%. I'm going to bring that up.
Yes, it is. Anna's just doing a recorded vote.
Who asked for the recorded vote? You.
And Darren as well.
You don't have to answer all, but can I ask why you've asked for the recorded vote? There's obviously... No, it's not that. It's all right. I just find it odd that councillors don't want to train.
Shooting from the hip. It's come on at last minute, not being discussed.
This is
Here
a-
it is, go for it.
I don't see us with any options though, tell us.
When you're asking questions.
When the date's coming up.
This is all very lastminute.com.
It
Was on the last agenda.
was it on the last one?
It wasn't, yes.
I agree. It's not. It should have been done earlier. I agree with you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll bring it up with the executive about the lateness of it.
So, the proposal is for up to 2 councillors to attend the YLCA annual conference, 28th of 10th 16 to the 30th of 10th 16, and to pay reasonable accommodation costs.
Can I take the vote from councillors Islands Senior? Against. Islands Junior?
Against.
Against. Councillor
Two people who never do training.
Is that proposal?
Councillor Manship's not here. Councillor Matthews?
For.
Councillor Sadler?
For.
Councillor Smith?
Yes.
Councillor Tarmy?
Against.
Councillor Torn?
For.
Councillor Thornton?
For.
Councillor Vernon?
For.
6 for and 4 against.
Is that carried?
If there's more than 2 people who name forward, I want to go. If there's more than 2 people, let them know, and I'll decide the right place myself. That's how important I think it is.
So, people who are interested in attending, contact the clerk. We must go into public session now. So can we resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting? Questions from the public? Kevin?
Well, to do with this training, I just find it hard to believe that you can work your budget out and you don't include training.
We didn't know that.
It is in the budget.
It's in the budget.
Well, if it's your budget, why are you arguing about putting one out? Why won't you set out the budget that you were budgeting a certain amount of money for 2 councillors with then training, 3 councillors?
Because we're trying to look after your tax.
We still have to formally approve it. So it is budgeted, but the council does have to approve the expenditure. It hasn't.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, it would be far easier just to set up, instead of writing that we want 10 councillors to 14 councillors to, we have only actually included in our budget the 3 councillors at maximum to take this kind of training. We don't all agree with that.
There is actually more than enough for everyone to go in the budget, but I think the idea is that some councillors want to be a little more prudent. I think.
It just seems that you get to conversation and you're just stumbling about as if you've got your budget, but you don't know who's doing what.
Well, I think the thing is, if I can just reply, last year they didn't have one of these, so we didn't know whether they were going to have one this year. They decided to organise one late notice, and that's why we've got to make a decision now. We're not, best of the world, we're not mind readers or crystal ball gazers. And so they didn't have one last year, so nobody went at all. But we left money in the training budget for other training instances apart from this, so we've got enough money in. It's just would have been proven, as Drew says, so we can spend it on other things.
Yeah, I appreciate being proven, but the way it's coming across, if you sit where I'm sat, it's coming across that you're stumbling right in God. You didn't make, no, I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying it's good, that's the way it comes across. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm not opposed to anybody being changing anything, but what I'm saying is, I really think that you should have a certain amount of budget laid out for any training so you might
We do. Sorry, I'm not going to go into a reply. We've had a reply from Councillor Jepson there that we do have the funding in the budget. It's just that the council has to formally agree who's going and who's not. Any further questions from members of the public?
Regarding the installation of the metal of the goalpost, can I reply to that?
You can raise a point regarding the meeting,
right.
So you can.
We have at the bowling club just purchased from Canning Belting in workshop belting of industrial quality to go in the gutters, and that, if you'd like to come and have a look at it, is across on the bowling green for anybody who wants to see the thickness and the durability of it.
Thank you.
You just got it.
Yes, we just got it.
So you've not touched them.
Do it come through a charity?
All right.
Yeah, but so what comes to charity orphans,
And it's industrial,
they can't just do what they want.
it isn't first quality, it's pre-used stuff, and we've got the whole of the bowling green done for something like £400 and some odd pounds.
Okay, thank you. Would you mind giving the clerk the contact details?
The clerk has already got them through Siobhan because Siobhan has got the receipt.
Thank you. In that case, we'll look for the receipt. Okay. Any further questions from members of the public?
Because before they start doing work on it, it's got to come from.
We've got great.
Stuart mentioned about this rubber Matthew, and I want to say, well, that's everything depends on the time. So that's maintenance, that's not an issue. You will always have to maintain stuff. If we didn't have to maintain stuff, we'd still be driving back in cars and with kids. That's a non-issue. I think they were just concerned whether they were going to put some Matthew down, which is the right stuff to do, also the cheaper part. I think we're about what we can do.
We could resolve to extend. We could go back into suspense thing.
You know, does anybody know what they did to that frame about 3 months ago?
Because it's all that now. Because it's like it was. I mean, we were sat in this garden, crying all the time. This is why I got hit out of it, because you're sat here, you're not exposed to what you're exposed to.
Bring the ball, and
Waste of time, double put the beds in already.
Having to put up with what we're putting up with every day. If I bring my car, stick it out there, with water and stuff, and let it play while this meeting's going on, you might understand what I'm talking about.
We have been, in fact, just as one reply, that I myself have been about 8 times, different times today. Other councillors have, and we have been in your garden, and there is some noise there.
We didn't take a ball to hit the frame to let you hear it.
We were there actually with environmental health from. We were there with environmental health from Rotherham, and actually the environmental health officer heard a ball banging against the framework, and that's why he suggested putting some rubber matting either side. So that's why we had that suggestion, because actually we were there and we did hear it, and we thought it was quite noisy. So we've sought some quotes.
Because the word kind of feeling and put some balls or something, but it doesn't, that doesn't help, it's not.
How long have you lived there?
25 years.
And how long has the problem been an issue?
3 years.
What is it expedited in the last 3 years? Have you any idea?
Putting a barn up.
Sorry?
The farmer putting a barn.
So we should go to Rotherham then to get compensation. Not us.
Where's the aerodynamics in this farm?
It's reflecting the sound.
So we'll tell RMBC, can't we? We'll ask for the money.
We're planning, and we're taking it.
The point I was making is we're going to end up spending thousands on this. And I'll tell you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Massive knock-on.
I'm sorry. We're going to take one final question from the lady there. Otherwise, we're at risk of overrunning the 10 minutes for the public session.
Referring to the matter from previous meetings, as Councillor Thornton was mentioning, he did say he would put the shrubs in because the council had got some spare shrubs. He didn't approve buying the late landed. That wasn't approved, and it says it's approved here. That's one thing. And the second thing is, the path that goes onto the park is a public footpath. It's been there for 50 years. I've lived in Anton 51 or 52 years, and that public footpath came up from High Street, up the side of the shops, down Road Grove and down to that field, and that's been there for 50-some years. It's a public footpath.
If it's a public footpath, it then belongs to RMBC.
It's a permissive path.
I don't know. We have to find out.
Am I right, John?
I don't know where it went from there. There wasn't
Are we going into confidential session?
Thank you very much. That is actually the end of the public session. Thank you, ladies and gents. That's the end of the public session. Clive did have one point that he wanted to raise.
Can I just, it's item 10.3, I think Christine and I put the same item on. It's to approve the collection from Midland and nurses and Rotherham Hospice at Amsterdam Bonfire.
Can I propose?
All we need is a yes.
Can I propose that we?
Well, we can arrange that now.
Okay, thanks very much. So we've got a proposal to approve the collection for Macmillan Nurses and Rotherham Hospice at the bonfire night. That's proposed by Clive, seconded by Darren. All those in favour? Thank you. That's the end of the meeting. Date and time of the next meeting is Monday the 19th of September.